8 to 12 a day.
8 to 12 a day. Willie and I were talking about diapers immediately prior to the start of recording. He asked me, "Hey, what's the burn rate on diapers for a baby?" 8 to 12.
Wow.
You know, sometimes a little low, sometimes a little high. But then I just, you know,
for some reason, I just thought like, oh, well, one per bathroom usage and
like what? Like a human?
Yeah, like a human, you know?
Not like a tiny form of poop-based terror?
I was thinking like 2 or 3 after...
You're fucking crazy.
You know, input, output. Holy shit.
Dude, the babies have food every 2.5 to 3 hours.
True. But it comes out at equal rates, I suppose. It's
so
no one talks about the output.
When we were in the hospital, there's a big chart on the wall, and the chart was like, okay, day 1, you should have this many wet diapers and this many poopy diapers. And then day 2, you should have this many, and then you build up to about 8 to 12. And like, it's not bad. Like, changing a diaper is overrated in terms of difficulty, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the fucked up blowout nightmare diapers I've managed to dodge, and so has Paige. But those are not going to be every day. I hope not. Eventually, but the changing a regular diaper is 5 minutes out your life, and it's just poop.
But I think the image that created it being overrated is Donald Draper trying to do it with one hand while he's got a whiskey sour in the other and a cigar lit, you know, and like, oh, well that's a different task.
As I am sitting here as a man, and I'm talking to you as a man, my dad changed the occasional diaper, but like in general, everyone from the generation before us, we would just not change diapers at all. In the 70s, it was like less than, I think, 10% of dads had changed one diaper. Right? And so, like, when we watched, like, TV and shit like that, we got to see sitcom things of, oh, dad's got to change the diaper. Oh, no, what's going to happen? Oh, my God, it's ever. And it's like, no, it's like 2 minutes, man.
Also, how much of that is leftover energy of the years when diapers were made of cloth and you had to go rinse and put them out and put a new, fresh one on?
People
diaper tech has evolved.
People still use cloth diapers, and you save a lot of money off of, disposable.
I get it,
but you have traded time, a lot of time, and
also like the wash, because back at the time I'm referring to is a time when you'd have to then go like get the washing block out, and you'd have to like rinse it and then grit and do the proper scrubbing.
I mean,
we had those in Grenada.
Use cloth diapers right now.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying. But right now, in today's day and age, like you're not going to grab that diaper and then throw it in the washing machine.
No,
load it up.
You got to
right?
rinse it out.
There's a step in between to
the whole thing
to make it a little less.
I'm not going to use. No. I'm going to use disposable diapers forever.
You're saving money, but like at what cost? There's time and there's.
Time has value. And the other thing about cloth diapers, and this would be my nightmare, is that if the baby poops hard enough and fast enough, there's the possibility that you're going to hit like your limit on what cloth diapers you have available. And then what do? You just put them in a little garbage bag? That's not going to work.
Oh yeah. You were mentioning earlier that you got you stopped blocking too early in the combo. And the fresh diaper got resoiled almost immediately.
No, you'll change. If you're like, oh, I gotta be right on this for baby, you change baby, and then baby looks at you, and before you even have the clasp on the new diaper, blah,
Yep.
And then you change that diaper and you do it again, blah, and you're like, so when baby shits, you kind of look at baby for a little bit and you search his eyes
You got reset.
to
That
see if,
the
and,
baby
like,
the baby did a reset on you.
because you're
Brax
looking at
resets.
him and you're like you're trying to ascertain what's in a creature's stomach based on their face, and like and you look and you're like, is there like is their eye twitching? Is there like a scrunch of the face? Are they doing a little and if so, you can wait. You can wait a minute because you're going to shit that diaper again. Anyway,
All right.
babies are cool. Got the dog back. Dog is back in the house. Dog and baby have met. It is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
It is. We can't have the dog licking the baby right now because the baby is like a month old or just a little less, and the dog is disgusting and awful.
Mm-hmm.
So they've like chatted. They've talked to each other. And every time I got the baby in my in the crook of my arm, the dog tries to sneak like tastes of the baby's feet. Like the dog will my bulldog, right? English bulldog, and he's got a big stupid fat head, but they have really weirdly long tongues. So the dog will like crawl on the couch towards us, and I'm like, no, stay. And then he'll like extend his leg to his head to the maximum distance, and just try and like lick the baby like the baby's a popsicle.
Nice.
It's disgusting, but it's very cute.
There's gonna be a point,
Otherwise, yeah, dog's totally chill.
there will be a point where as baby grows, they're on the way up. They will be baby and dog will hit the same level of awareness.
Yeah.
And
That's going to be weird.
That will be the key moment, right?
Yeah,
Finding the exact cross point.
I had the other day, I had baby in my right arm, like just cradle him, got my hand under his butt, kind of crooking the arm, and the dog crawled on my lap, and then they both like looked at each other for like 10 minutes, and then baby started kicking the dog in the head, and then the dog looked at me like I'm gonna stop the baby, and I'm like, dog, your head weighs 4 times as much as the baby. You're fine. Don't give me sad puppy eyes because an infant is kicking you in the brain.
Geef's
It's
like,
adorable.
Bro, what the fuck? Talk to your boy.
No.
Talk to your mans, dog.
No. Baby gets a free pass. No, that's one of the reasons we got an English bulldog, because English bulldogs are extraordinarily tolerant around small children. Like
nice.
You see their fat, ugly face, right? And so people like to mess with their jowls. Babies like to mess with their jowls, and babies like to grab dogs' eyes and suck on their nose and all that weird shit. He's not gonna give a shit, so that's gonna be great. The only worry I have with the dog and the baby is that have you ever taken care of like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old and like you give them like fucking Cheerios, on the high chair, and then you distract them with the Cheerios and shit?
Yeah.
So you know what babies do? They take that shit and they throw it right on the fucking floor.
Tossed. Absolutely.
They take their food, the floor.
Yep.
This shit, the floor.
Correct.
And the best part is that like my mom babysat kids, so I saw this happen a lot. If a baby sees a dog, they will recognize that the dog will eat their food, and they will just throw food at the dog. So the dog is going to get fat. Like the dog will gain weight and become fatter. It's like dogs don't need to steal food from baby. Baby will gladly hand food to dog.
Yeah, no, the high chair to ground pipeline is quite complete, and there will be Congress between the two.
Yeah.
There will be an agreement. Good luck.
So luckily, like Zangief's like actually like pretty thin for an English bulldog. So if he gets a little chunky, then he'll just get a little slower. It's a little slower. Let's see. That's what's going on with Pat's life. Is that I dog and baby coexisting happily.
Cool.
That guy, I gotta say though, like be it like sitting on the couch, like with like your infant, and then your big fat dog is on your lap, and you're like fully trapped, like fully trapped. Like I wouldn't be able to pull the dog off me with the one arm, right? Feels good, man.
Okay.
and then the cat comes to bug you, and you're like, I'm just awash in children right now. This is good.
Yeah, just to rewind a bit, you said he's thin for a bulldog?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
wild.
Yeah, no, Zangief. You've seen video,
Yeah.
you've seen photos. He is thin for a bulldog. He is 75 pounds. He could easily get to 100 if I just let him eat whatever he wanted. Bulldogs are hard to keep thin. They're hard to keep thin because they'll eat until they die.
That's crazy. Wow.
So somebody in the chat says 75 is thin for his frame. Yes. My bulldog is actually quite tall and long and shouldered for an English bulldog. He's like a good 30% larger than your average dog, but you know, people let him get super fat.
Well, you calling him a chonker, and here he is practically being a runway model.
Like the main thing is like if you're supposed to be able to feel your dog's ribs.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
Like
right.
dog fat is not the same as people fat. If you could feel my ribs right now, Wooly, I'd first tell you to stop. But secondly, I would be like, I should get a fucking hamburger. That's too much, right? But you're supposed, so I can feel Geef's ribs. They're in there. They're a little bit under here, but I can feel them. But people are like, no, man, dogs are supposed to have the same body proportion as a human. Like, no, they're not. That's too much.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's also breed dependent, right? Like greyhounds are nothing but ribs.
Yeah, they look like they're made out of fucking glass and timber.
Yeah, I mentioned it not long ago, but like I have access to ribs now when I lie down. I'm like, oh, there they are. How about that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I'm lying down, like I'm like they stick out and they protrude, and like I can. That's the most
cool.
It's why it's kind of weird. It's that like I'm like I've literally never had that in my entire life. It's very weird. Never.
I've never had it either.
First time I can ever think of that I've had that. So
that's cool, man.
Ribs unlocked.
Good
exactly.
for you.
I do have bones. I can confirm firsthand. And yeah, I think this week is gonna be should be the end of the program. So I'm going in for the final like scans and MRIs and running tests and everything like that. But the conclusion
all right, and then
of the arc,
right back to sugar. Like nothing happened.
Actually, my at this point, I've been eating sugar regularly. I've been having just like a fairly balanced intake of everything. And yeah, it seems as if like my body is like used to burning whatever the fuck I put in it. It like the engine's going. Coal has been shoveled into the flames, so that's nice. Yeah, I guess after this point, it's like you are released, do what you will, and now I have to kind of figure out how to
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up, exactly. How to take what you've learned, apply it to the real world, and don't fuck it up. But I think I've already kind of mostly figured it out, so should be cool. Yeah, well, I got some other things to do. Like I also always wanted to be like, okay, well, once I get smaller, I can get more ink, because I don't want that to be weirdly misshapen once it shrinks on me if I got it while I was big. I mentioned it some time ago as well. So hey, I get
tattoos are on your skin part.
The
skin part can change.
So I get to get my reward, which is I've been wanting for years now. So gonna start planning that out as well into the next steps. But yeah, I guess week wise, what's going on?
Okay. Yeah. So, I made it to Baldur's Gate 3's second act after multiple weeks of the first one, where the second act turns into Bloodborne.
Yo, that game's cool.
And oh boy, it's cool. But more than me playing that, what did you think of Baldur's Gate 3, Wooly? By the way, hey, I want to say it was a lot of fun to guest on the show.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. The fucking the high note exit always Always toss the dagger and run away, run out of the room is always a good
Yeah,
way.
just leave a gun on the table.
It
Did you know that he's getting more pies than you are? Goodbye.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think like I was talking about it with Reggie afterwards too, and like he definitely, like, I gave him some prep to like know, like, hey, this is going to be a lot of options, there's going to be a lot going on, because he had no experience, and well, neither did I. It's definitely an intimidating interface to approach and learn as you go.
There's a lot.
Yeah, so I think I think we did fine for the plan, which was to just roll with it. Whatever the game does, we just go with it and see what it is. See what's possible. But like every time it's not your turn or is your turn in combat, and you're kind of like going through the wheel of options and using bonus actions or key, or you can move a little bit further, but now you can dash or you can't. That whole system is like, there's a lot to learn and a lot to get used to. So like for the first while, I think you're gonna just see me and Reggie just like, okay, hit the button. What's possible? If it's all grayed out, then I guess my turn is over. But
that's a fairly decent way of interpreting the action economy, which is like, what can I do? What is grayed out? Like works.
Yeah, there's a lot that happened where I was like, oh, I guess my turn is over, but it wasn't, or I was like, oh, I moved, but actually your second action could reach a little bit further, and things like that. So there's always just a moment of like, I know your turn's probably done, but I'm going to come back to the second character and just check to make sure actually it is. And there's a million other things as well that are just, you have to just get used to this if you've never done it before. So pretty intimidating up front with that.
It's a completely realized like 5th edition D&D put into video game format, but like, so on mouse and keyboard and controller, there are various things that are easier or harder. There's just so many goddamn like actual actions and or variations. Like it was last week, despite playing the game for like fucking 60 hours, that I was like, hey, how do you end concentrated abilities? You hold triangle on the fucking radial menu. Oh, okay.
Oh, just a different button prompt entirely. Okay.
There were people like for weeks on the game's release, like, how do I make everyone in my group sneak at one time? How do I pull out a torch for everybody at any given time?
Right.
And just like various little fucking things.
So there's also I've talked about this in stealth games, but like whenever a game has a stealth system, there's like a million checks you have to go through where you're like, okay, hold on. What does the programmer of this game think that means? Because some games only care about line of sight. Some games care about whether you're in a crouching state or a standing state. Some games care about whether you're standing in grass or not standing in grass. Some games care about whether it's light or dark outside. And all of these rules interchange and interplay with each other, as well as sound effects, speed of running versus walking versus crawling on a slight tilt on the analog stick. There's so many different possible things that can be considered stealth that you can't know until you do it a couple times to realize.
So let me ask you
what the game's limitations are, right?
Did you figure out which of those factors are a factor in BG3?
No, I think
because some of the ones you mentioned are factors,
but some are not, right?
Okay, so here's the factors. How high is your stealth number of your skill, right? Straight up, because when somebody looks at you, you roll to see if you stay hidden. Are you in line of sight? Line of sight's the biggest one by far, right? And then the third one is light level, which is why there's in darkness, out of darkness, and partially in darkness.
Okay,
that's your that's your criteria.
Because that moment when we crouched up and crawled into the abandoned building, there were the thieves were and stuff, or the bandits. Like there was a bit of like, okay, now you're in stealth mode, and then Like, I'm like, all right, these guys are having a conversation. Now, if I walk out into broad daylight, it seems like in some games that would be a really obvious move. But maybe in this game, if they're in conversation, then merely approaching the circle of influence will trigger the cutscene in stealth mode, you know? So you're like, I don't know which one of the rules this game is going to apply. So that's just going to have to be rubbing your face up against it until you figure it out.
Yeah, it's line of sight, stealth number, and light. Those are the three.
Right. And similar to that also is things where archer accuracy is like, I'm like, so what affects this? If I get closer, does the number go up? It's like, yes, but then there's high ground. And it's like, okay, now was that door in the way or is it not in the way? And then like throwing thing accuracy.
Yeah.
So then
ranged attacks is high and low ground. It's within the preferred distance of the weapon and within the max distance of the weapon. So and then if they have particularly high defense.
So there's a bunch of stuff there where it's like, right, on tabletop we would just say this out loud verbally and then the DM would say whatever in response. But in the game system, you do have to kind of figure out what it cares about and doesn't care about. Because then you can overthink things and, you know, jump to locations you don't need to if it doesn't care about that aspect of, you know.
What I really like
whatever.
is on the controller it's a touchpad. It brings up the you know, hey, I don't know what something on this item means, and you click it, and it just provides you with this fucking explosion of tooltips that scrolls down. And it's like every single term on this description that could be a term you don't understand will be explained at some point. It goes, what's advantage? What's disadvantage? What's conditional? What's this? What's that? And like, but instead of being like, hey Jimmy, the DM, what does this mean? It's like essentially going like, go into your own miniature little player's rule book and look for yourself. There's so many interactions that I am still dealing with and understanding. So I told you last week, like I was talking to Paige, or maybe that was on my stream. Yeah, it was on my stream. I was like, Paige wanted to steal something from one of the druids, and I'm like, good luck with that. This particular druid's in a room with like 8 people. You'll never be able to break line of sight. And then she said, well, what if I turn off all the candles in the room? And she turned off all the candles in the room, and it broke everyone's line of sight because it was too dark. And then she stole it, and she got into an area, like she got into like a treasure vault area that took me like 6 streams to get into because I did the quest to do it, but she just broke in.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think so. Like that stuff always is going to come into play once you're thinking outside the box, and I guess you know what the limitations or lack thereof kind of are. You know, like if you were aware of the fact that you can stack a box, then you were aware of the fact that you can stand on it, then you get that the height of this barrier is not going to get in your way. But I think, so like the way Reggie kind of walked into it, like for me, I'm like, okay, I have some quote unquote none. I have some old ass outdated D&D knowledge with how things go. But with him, he doesn't have any. So I'm just thinking like if people that are unfamiliar with the genre entirely happen to turn this game on and jump into it for the first time, the onboarding aspect is going to be one where it's not like they won't know what to do. I think they just won't be being particularly creative inherently. You know, I think you will just be walking up to enemies and doing your default attacks on them.
I have had
until
couple
the community
moments.
Aspect is like brought into play.
I have had a couple moments
otherwise.
of like personal creativity in which I was like, yeah, I'm doing it, right? More often than not, I have had moments of dealing with an encounter and then afterwards being like, oh, I bet I could have done that more interesting. Like, so like in particular, there's a boss fight in which there's a stage hazard you can kill the boss with, right? I had beat that boss down like 80-90% the hard way before realizing oh, I bet I could use the stage hazard. And then by the time I could get the boss to the stage hazard, I just beat it down.
You already did it anyway. Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
You don't need to fucking use the fancy environmental shit if you just hit it hard enough.
So this is a game that has Baldur's Gate 3 is, it's gone from early access into final release, and I know it's crossed the finish line, and they're going to keep updating it. But I think something that would be pretty cool to implement would be something that, because again, there's always there's an online community of people that can kind of talk about how creatively you should play these games and stuff. But whenever it's in the game, I always like when you can kind of hint at things, right? So I've been playing. I told you I went back to Darkest Dungeon 2, and I've been playing a bunch more of that because it's just I fucking love it. Something cool about that game is, you have a ton of classes and you have a ton of abilities that you unlock for each class, and you can play in a bunch of different styles, and the synergy between different characters is not always inherently obvious because you have to tinker and experiment with your builds to see what works and what doesn't. But something you get is there will be paths for each class that you unlock that change the abilities slightly to like custom grooves almost. Like this makes it so that you have a little less life, but you do more damage depending on where you're ranked, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the screen.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you'll get a trinket or an item for that class that says like when you use this ability, it changes so that you actually get you steal 2 of the enemies' buffs instead of like your usual thing, right? And so you'll get these little hints in the form of items and paths in the game that go, oh, if I want to start thinking differently about this approach, I can. And it's not outright telling you, like, here's another way to play the game directly, but it's kind of implying this is what you can start thinking about.
Baldur's Gate 3 does not do that.
Yeah.
It just has everything out for you to fuck with. There's a
sometimes
bunch
achievements will hint at like, oh, solve this thing in an unconventional manner.
People who didn't, the boss I'm mentioning, most people who didn't use the stage hazard only found out about the stage hazard because you beat the boss without using it, and it gives you an achievement. Hey, you beat the boss without using the stage hazard.
Okay.
And you go, fucking what?
What are you talking about? Yeah.
So yeah, there's I can think of like 4 or 5 things off the top of my head where, like there's a huge enemy fortress that's like, oh wow, it'd be really hard to fight just get on the ground and fight all these guys. But the building has like a bunch of rafters you can get onto and just hit people with arrows, and they have no chance of getting up to get at you. I'm thinking of 3 really, really tough level 5 guys that I was able to just charm my way out of it. But then after I charmed my way out of it, I looked at the area, and like the roof they were standing under could have collapsed, and there was like one faulty beam that had a hitbox. Right? The area. Okay, when you went to that little fucking temple, right? That had the bandits outside of it, and they were arguing,
and the trap,
like the block of stone that's above them, right? It doesn't point that out. It doesn't highlight.
But after the encounter, I went, oh, I bet you I know what that block of stone was for.
Did you break it?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. We shot up at the string, created the hole, and then Reggie went to the gate, to the door, and then deceived his way in, started a fight in there, and in the meantime, I split up and jumped in the hole because content, you have to.
Yeah.
And then we have a split battle where we're like, I'm fucked over here and he's dealing over here, and we're trying to get back together, and it was kind of crazy, you know?
So I in my game, there's a third way in there. You go in through the back, you go in through the exit, and then you do all the tomb stuff first, and then you come out, and if you do that and you're coming out from the crypt, all of their dialogue changes, and they start to freak the fuck out because something's coming up out of the crypt.
Okay. Interesting.
And they think you're like ghosts or something.
Nice. Yeah. So it would be too overwhelming, certainly, to like even imply the breadth of options you can get into. But like, if there was something that they got to at a certain point where yeah, just like things that kind of imply things, that to start jogging your brain, I think, to think
No,
outside the box. That could
no,
be interesting.
no.
It could
Use
be
your
interesting.
brain.
Yeah.
I
It's
like
fine if it's fine if you are like, I just want to do it this way, and I'm also online and I'm going to be chatting with other people who are playing this game, because you're going to get that experience anyway.
Well, so here's the thing, right? The system is built open, and I feel like a lot of these things you're not going to get the aha moment if a tooltip implied that maybe you should do it. Right? There's like getting a tooltip that suggests, hey, maybe you should try this.
No, not a tooltip. No, that's not. I definitely don't want it to be a thing that pops up overtly like that.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of BioShock. I don't know if you've played BioShock 1.
Yeah,
but you get your electrobolt power, and then you see a bunch of guys standing in water, and then Atlas goes, "Oi there, boyo! They're standing in water. Did you know you could electrocute them in the water?"
Right.
And then you're like, "Oh, cool."
So when the camera pans back in that area and you go upstairs and you see the block that can drop, I mean, that's like signposted enough, right? That's a great example.
Yeah.
If you're having a conversation with a bunch of assholes and then there's a hippo in the water behind them, just washing its belly, just rolling around, you're like, okay, well, cool, right? That's fine. That'll always be the way to handle it in games. I'm thinking of like, I use the Darkest Dungeon example because it's like picking up an object, and then within its lore or within its description, there's something there that makes you go, oh, I didn't even think about the possibility that you could combine this with that, and okay, like maybe like a description on a spell is like, oh, the creator of this spell actually, was known for this.
So I feel like there's too many actual options and too many variations on things to do for that to actually be useful. Instead, the only thing that I can think of is that you have to take the descriptions of what things do seriously. So that's not super clear the way I said it, but like when a spell in a game is like makes you invisible for 30 seconds, and that, right? Your brain goes, okay, but it's invisibility in like game terms, right? So if I like fight someone or steal things, the game is going to snap to me and go, hey, stop right there, criminal scum, or whatever, right? When you turn invisible in Baldur's Gate 3, until you fucking touch a person, you are fucking invisible, with all the advantages that includes, such as moving items, stealing items, moving switches, etc. Right? Unless they have detect invisibility, but that's a whole different thing, right? Like, I'm just thinking about today, this morning, I was watching the TikTok, and a gentleman came on going, "His Baldur's Gate 3 tips, haha." And I'm like, these are probably all garbage, but I'll give it a shot. And the first one in this man's video was, did you know that if NPCs get killed in a cutscene, but you attack, because there's an attack button in most interactions,
right?
Like, if you attack before that happens, they won't be dead because they didn't get killed?
That sounds like it can break triggers.
They specifically mention a late Act 1 encounter where if you decide to interrupt the cutscene by attacking before some people get shot, you'll save them, and then the door that gets locked in the cutscene is open because the cutscene didn't finish.
Right. Even triggers that occur in game world that should be just cinematic transitions from one loading zone to another actually are affected by your decisions.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stupid shit like that. There's like later on, if you use a wizard in your party, you get to use something called counterspell, which is a level 3 spell. You get at level 5. If you fight a necromancer, and the first turn of the necromancer is to, boss summon 40 guys, but you have counterspell on, and just go no, then the fight is no longer you against a guy and 40 skeletons. It's you against some guy that you're not letting cast spells. You just run over there and just whoop on him.
I feel like one aspect of the tabletop adventure that was fun, that kind of captures some of this energy, is like, so like my history teacher back in high school, like he ran his D&D campaign in his class as well, and like he had his bigger, more professional setup. We were kind of off on the side doing our own little thing. But like there would always be like, oh yeah, like so many games ago someone did some wild shit and it kind of becomes like a fun piece of lore, and then that might come up in discussion at some point, like, or it might be referenced in some way, so someone at an inn might be talking about that crazy necromancer that walked around with dead bodies in his bag all the time and no one really knew why he did that, and that little conversation piece would come up in some way,
I totally understand what you're saying, Wooly. There are too many variations of these events.
It's just a thought that would be a really cool thing if they ever.
I have been playing the game for just over a month now, and I just this morning understood what. So if you look at a door or a chest, it has the sturdy descriptor.
Yes.
So what that means is you have to beat a damage threshold for it to take damage, right? So if you can't lockpick something and you have a big enough person, you can just smash the chest to bits and get all that shit. But what if you don't have a big enough person? Well, you can just pick the chest up and put it in your inventory. Then you can go to a in-game cliff and throw it off the side, because fall damage is calculated as weight times height. And just pick, and just like, if you have no one who can pick locks, just take every chest with you and throw them off cliffs, and the fucking ground will unlock them.
If you're willing to like spend the weight of carrying that shit around,
Which, if you're a dumb, strong person that has no lockpicking ability, you can.
Okay. And now, but here we go. Game logic question. Does the game care about the contents being affected by the fall damage?
No.
Is that a thing? Right. So,
No, it does not.
That may or may not.
You'll get everything. There's no problem.
Exactly. So, and that's something that may or may not apply based on how they decided to program it. You never know.
Yeah.
No,
they
Dark Souls 2 says
easy.
otherwise, right?
The chest dimension is separate.
Oh, glass does break? Okay, interesting. There you go. Right.
I don't believe that.
Because I feel like a DM would be like, if you want to, and then you toss it, and then there'll be like, you hear a thud followed by the shattering of glass. Yeah, no,
the chests, the glass does not break. That person is wrong. Things are completely... the only thing that happens, and this is a real thing, if you decide to open the chest with a bomb instead of like with the literal bomb or like fireball or something, the burning ground effect on the ground will damage the items. Because because now the item is out on the damaging floor, and then it'll take. Yeah. But you can smash that shit to bits and throw it off cliffs all you want.
Yeah. So anyway, that's overall though, like, it is a system that I feel it's fucking cool. I just definitely want to spend time familiarizing and getting the gist of when it is in fact my turn or not, or how my my actions come back, and the exact cost of that, and just the ins and outs, the learning of the ropes, right? As you would in any game where you're provided with a ton of options right away. I am reminded of like onboarding in the first time I ever played Souls, where you're like, oh, okay, you can't just walk up to everything and swing at it like any other action game. You have to realize that, you know, patience and poking and stamina matters, and like, and in this case, we had, let's be real, like one real fight. The other fights were all kind of like, you know, simple swing at it, the things going down in one or two. And in that real fight where like things can go horribly wrong and the environment is popping off and stuff, I ran into at least 3 or 4 moments where I had an idea, but it wasn't going to work out, you know? And then it was like, okay, what else can I do if I can't do that? You know, maybe I can do this. And then it's like, oh, wait, there's a trap system where now my party member can't move. You can walk over to them and free them, but how does the exact nature of that system work? You know, so there's a couple things there where I'm like, okay, I'm maybe sometimes I'm trying to think about, well, like wild solutions to problems that you can actually just solve very straightforward.
So
you know?
the best way that I can try and like contextualize that is every action you have in the game has a description of what it does, and thinking within thinking of those actions as and descriptions as your tools, as your toolbox to solve problems, and like I said, taking the description on that text seriously.
Yes.
Right? So like it's less about it's less about thinking outside the box and more like looking at the tools you have available and then being like, okay, what can I actually do with this tool as stated? Right? So dip weapon is a really interesting one. You read dip weapon and it says dip weapon into any surface like water or fire or poison or whatever, and gain that damage type on X turns. If your party member gets hit with fireball, you can dip your weapon into the party member and gain the buff.
Right, okay.
If you found like there's little candles just around, like totally useless candle, dropping items takes no turns, like no actions. You can, if your archer wants to drop a candle next to them, they can use bonus action dip and get 1d4 extra fire damage on their bow and arrow for like the whole combat. Because you've got a candle that you're dipping your fucking arrows into.
Dip it up, bro. That's pretty sick. Yeah, so I don't have I don't remember the examples, but I remember when I saw Rebuke Undead, Turn Undead, and I'm like, oh, that's unlocking a memory of like that was a spell that could be exploited to shit by combining it with nonsense, like fucking casting that on or like it was on an object and then putting that object in a place to cause them to move, and then once they're moving you can kind of kite the undead into like a sheepdog, and you know like Turn Undead was I remember that being an access, like an opening point to breaking the system in ways that you know you otherwise wouldn't expect it to, you know, and so I'm hoping that in this game you can do similar the current nonsense and chicanery with it.
The current most busted thing that you know what? Okay. I have thought about this in my brain in between sessions, and it should work the way I think it will. And I will look over in the chat and they will tell me whether or not the game will correctly work in the way that it should. There is a spell called Sanctuary that clerics get, which makes you unable to attack, but it makes you unable to be attacked. It basically turns your character off for combat purposes for a little bit.
Okay.
There's also ability called Spirit Guardians that causes this massive AoE of little spirits to do damage around you. I bet you if I cast Spirit Guardians on myself and have a big wide AoE of permanent damage, and then cast everyone's already telling me it works.
Yeah.
And then put Sanctuary on myself, no one can attack me, but I'm just a big fucking moving AoE bomb that no one can interact with.
Nice.
Great. Perfect. It is my favorite thing to do with Shadowheart. That's what I mean. Like, things work the way they're supposed to work. Like, we have spent so many video games like looking at like this move lets you assassinate from darkness, but like darkness is actually like a binary state, and like this part of the level it looks dark but it doesn't count as the darkness tag, and so then you can't assassinate, and then assassinate doesn't do a full damage, it actually does like a damage multiplier instead, right? And all this fucking nonsense. It's like, no. Sanctuary says if I don't attack, no one is allowed to attack me. And this move is not an attack. Therefore, I should be able to combine them. Good.
I think I'm gonna need a logic lab. I'm gonna need an ability to lab the thought process a little bit. But I really like that.
You need 2 party members to do it. Oh, that makes sense.
I like that moment of like, okay, like of just like, yeah, like hold on, what if you could do this, you know? And then like testing that out and testing the waters and shit. Like, I love doing that in any game, really. In this case, if you can do that in a scenario and actually have
the lab, you know? In Baldur's Gate 3 is known as the quick save system.
Right. Which I'm not too sure how to approach, I suppose, because I'm like, I kind of want to fuck around and find out, but I also, because I'm like streaming and you're going with whatever your decisions are, you don't want to like, you know, futz with that too much, because I don't know, I assume there's some kind of code of
I've been quick saving and quick loading on like, hey, I bet this would work, and then sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't work like the way I want it to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I didn't have quick save, I wouldn't have tried this zany interaction. Right?
Yeah. So like, I'm like, for example, like if I quick save and then I'm like, oh, you wonder if you can try this thing, and then you try it and it fails, you go, okay, reload, that seems fair. Versus if you quick save and then like, oh, I stepped into on a trap, unload that, I don't want to, you know, that element of surprise was like ambushed me or whatever. It's like, no, you should go with that
so like learning how to pickpocket people correctly took a lot of quick saves, because like it's a complicated system that has a lot of moving parts. Right? I'm a month into the game, and that's like, I'm like a third through. But I'm already like, I want to go back and do it better.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like, I forget where I heard it. I think it was on the Giant Bombcast, in which they were talking to like somebody who had recently started playing games. And they described like, yeah, I beat it, but like I want to do it again because I feel like I can do it better. Right? Like, there's a lot of situations that I look back on and like, I bet I oh, okay.
I can also tell
that I could do more interesting.
I can tell right away too, by the way that tutorial end fight started, and by the way the little encounter with the dying mind flayer went, that there will also be moments of
kiss.
There'll be moments of like, I want to do 3 things. Okay, here, let me just check this out quick before I do the other 2, and then you get locked into some shit, right? You have walked into the threshold that makes the cutscene occur, and that's another reason to be like, okay, hold on, quick save, you know.
I think the devs' realization of the type of game they were making in regards to this is fully on display when you discover that there are no limits to when you can save and load in the game. You can save the game in dialogue before you make decisions. You can save the game in combat at any time.
But once you
So
commit
if you
to an action and you're looking at dice, you can't back out of that action.
Yeah. So hey, oh, I didn't think this. Okay, you back out. Whatever. Like if you were a crazy person and you were romancing your vampire boyfriend and wanting to get the highest amount of approval in every interaction, you could quick save every time you talk to them
Oh God!
and run through every option until
Christ.
you found the ones that they liked the best.
Yeah.
If you were a crazy person.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, when you were like, "Oh, you're botching it with Shadowheart,"
Oh, I was botching it.
I'm like,
I botched it.
you know, there is a moment of like, "Fuck, no, I don't want to botch it."
No, play it through. Play it through.
Susie made out with a mind flayer. What the fuck?
Yeah, that happens. That happens twice, maybe.
Oh, big tongue. Oh,
it's a whole thing.
Damn.
I don't know. The game is just so like endlessly fascinating. Like even like every like half hour I encountered like some kind of like interesting little diorama of events. Like I had goddamn Talk to Animals on and I convinced fucking a bunch of evil spiders to fucking unionize. and because I was an Oathbreaker paladin, specifically, I got the advantage on telling them you owe no loyalty to anyone. Like basically the only thing you have to lose is your chains.
Nice. Do you realize that your entire week-to-week review of this game is just recapping wild moments of unexpected creative outcomes?
Yeah, it's a great. It's like incredible.
Yeah, every like eagle eye view of the game or anything related to its release or anything technical just comes back to, man, I did this shit or I heard about this shit. And it's just telling stories of things that went down.
Right.
That's 100% of your review.
Yeah, no, there's technical problems. There's an NPC stuck under the floor in one of my town areas right now. And apparently I need to like hack the game to get him up above the floor. I don't know how to do that.
You didn't do that.
No, I did not do that.
Okay.
There's a character that if you kill a cow, will not spawn in the second act, but he's actually there. He's under the floor because for some reason his location is tied to the location of the cow, which is no longer there. So if anybody knows how to get Damon out of the ground, hit me up on Twitter. I would like to get him out of the ground so I can talk to him.
You don't enter like a hostile state when you get near, do you? Because the most annoying thing is when a game has an enemy that falls out, but you can't ever exit.
No, he's a fucking
okay.
He's a blacksmith, and I can't talk to him. And it's like I would really like to talk to him because he's important.
Yeah.
Also, I'm deep enough into the game that I have started to see a little bit of how the sausage is made.
Okay.
And there's some real great through lines going through this game. So like, did you make it to the Grove?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there's a little town called the Druids Grove that is the first town, right? And you run into a ton of tieflings there. Like literally
I
like
think we
30...
saw it in the cutscene of the crash.
Yeah, so you meet like 30 people there, right? And everybody who makes it to the end of Act 1 will continue into Act 2. And everybody and most of the people who make it through Act 2 will continue in Act 3 because, of course, we're all going to the same place. We're all on the road to Baldur's Gate, right? What this means is that when I was playing my stream, and there were, some people don't catch every single stream, there are a couple people that were like, hey, Pat, what happened to so-and-so? Where's that? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? They must have met with an unfortunate accident at some point during my stream. They might have got it could have been an accident, but like the fact that there was an NPC that came to talk to me and was literally the only tiefling I did not meet at the camp, and had a line of dialogue of, "Hey, I was at the camp. I guess we kept passing by each other because we've never spoken, but and then they hit you with their introduction. Like it's it just goes.
I have to say, I went through a couple of circles with Asterion, because it's like, okay, I heard about how everyone's like fucking thirsting up hard over this character.
You mean Astarion?
So that's it. Because I didn't hear the cutscene voice. I didn't hear any of that. I just saw the picture of the guy, and I saw everyone memeing. So I was like, okay, so this is gonna be like that, the same hot boy energy of any of the fucking multiple S-star rank Grand Blue, slutty boys. Ooh,
right.
And
no.
Yeah, and that's what I was expecting. I'm expecting gacha hot boy character energy, and that's what everyone's getting on about, right?
Yeah.
And then he opens his mouth and he's like, "Darling, it's Leviosa." And I'm like, what the fuck is this? How is this attractive, right? But then you give it a minute, and I'm like, oh, it's Tim Curry in Rocky Horror energy.
Okay, so it's like, me and Paige were talking about this, and we went and looked, and we found exactly what the inspirations are. That is one of them. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror is definitely one of them. The other one, to like down to the pants he's wearing, is Jareth the Goblin King from Labyrinth. David Bowie in Labyrinth. Down to the weird, like, codpiece pants.
Okay, yeah. So that's it, because I'm like, by any other metric, like, anyone who sounds like that is going to be revolting. But it's that energy. It's that, okay, right. Like, hot slut Brit dude. Yes, darling, of course.
Yes.
Fuck, right.
I think my favorite interaction with Astarion was like the very first one I had, where he got the drop on me, and I went, fuck it, melee, and then headbutted the shit out of him.
Yeah, I got him.
And then he like, oh, congrats, you didn't get the drop on nothing.
Because I also just, my reference point on that voice also goes back to the SNL skit with the British dudes with the fucking long coats and the wigs going,
yeah,
yes, Lord.
So it says a lot that the first 3 party members that you are going to run into are like garbage people. Like, the first thing out of Shadowheart's mouth is fucking help me. The second thing is ew, one of them.
Right.
And the third thing is don't look at my shit.
Don't touch my box. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, well, to be fair, fourth guy, like Mage Dude, is just like, hey, I'm just kind of
Gale's
I'm a charming
cool.
dude. I'm here.
I sound like I'm from the IT crowd.
Yeah, and I got my nice little
and then you
scruff
fucking
going.
You run into Lae'zel, and Lae'zel is part of the fucking green dominant like clan fucking society. And then Astarion is fucking walking red flag toxic motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna need.
Gale will eat your shoes.
I'm gonna need some time with these folks to figure out.
Okay, when I tell you that Gale will steal and eat your shoes, I'm not exaggerating. that is real.
He seems the most normal up front, but
he does, doesn't he?
But then also you pulled him out of a hole, so yeah.
And then there's Will, and Will's just a good guy. Will's just a good guy.
Once you correct the error that the game's textures have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, games just like there's just so much shit in there. There's just, it fulfills the fantasy of playing a video game and going, hey, what if I did that? It's like I can really only compare it to like Zelda, like Tears of the Kingdom, of like, hey, would this work? And the answer is usually like, yeah, kinda, at least kind of.
But everything you do in a Zelda game will never have social ramifications because
that's right.
You don't have there's nothing like that. You don't talk to anybody. Yeah.
So like, here's a really good example, right? So Karlak, I don't know if you ran into her, but you've probably seen her. She's the big red barbarian lady, tiefling.
I think we scrolled past it on the NPC list.
Okay, you know what? I'll just get you a fucking photo.
Yeah, I looked at all the playable options.
Okay, so she is a cool demon looking lady that broke out of hell bondage, right? She was having to work for devils. It sucked ass. She broke free, so she's real like, you know, freedom and good times and all that shit, right? I was playing as an Oathbreaker Paladin because I've decided to be a piece of shit, and I used Control Undead, which is a domination spell, right? Casting it in her presence removed half of my approval with her.
Whoa.
Because she hates it.
Yeah.
She hates it much. I'm like, lady, I'm controlling a corpse. But even that is like, no, bad to do.
Yeah.
Right? There's characters in your party. There's a character in your party that is like terrified of wolves. So if you're playing a druid and you wild shape into a wolf, they'll freak the fuck out. Right? Just there's so fucking much.
And I mean, and that's the kind of shit you just got to hit organically.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Baldur's Gate 3 is a pretty good game. I would recommend to you personally to just throw that session away and just start over on your own time and just go as slow as you possibly want.
Okay,
that's my advice.
So tell me now about the pocket dimension I have to enter so that I can spend time with AC6 because
what? So
what on how without fucking becoming Dr. Manhattan, how?
Okay, you know that part in the robot show where the robot man is boosting as hard as he can towards like a big cannon, and then the cannon shoots, and then they do a quick boost to the side, and the cannon misses.
That's
and
correct.
Then they use their laser sword to go wow,
yes,
and then kill the cannon.
Yeah, it turns out
you do that all the time in AC6.
Would you believe that's my favorite shit? In the world?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because it's cool as hell. Also, I want to point out there's a fun thing. You know how we've all made fun of like CBT with cognitive. You talking about cognitive and behavioral therapy? No. Oh, I'm talking about the closed beta test. No, I'm talking about the Capcom beta test. No, I'm talking right.
Torture.
AC6. AC6 is like the worst. In that, like, are we talking like, hey man, oh man, I was juking around and I was like dodging missile locks.
Creed. Yeah.
And oh man, I kept hearing danger because of all the enemy aircraft when I was playing Ace Combat 6.
Ace Combat, Animal Crossing, Assassin's Creed, Armored Core. I literally.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
I just had another one. Yeah, it's fucking.
So I have been playing the Astral Chain. God.
Astral Chain.
I have been playing the Armored Core 6, which is an Armored Core game.
Advent Children.
To people who were not familiar with Armored Core, like totally never really touched it. The easiest way to explain it is take the Souls series, right? And replace everyone with robots. And remember how Demon Souls was mission based, but then every game became more interconnected after that?
Mm-hmm.
Go in the other direction from Demon Souls and more mission based.
Okay.
Because Gene made Gene Park, friend of the show, wonderful guy, made an excellent point. Armored Core is not a robot Souls-like. Demon Souls is a fantasy Armored Core.
Right.
Demon Souls uses equip load and shoulder buttons and both analog sticks to control.
Well, so fuck Souls games. Armored Core has, if I'm not mistaken, always been mission, do your output, set up your thing, your loadout for this mission, do what this mission requires, go back and change it all up for the next one. No.
Hey, did you get your ass beat in that mission? Congrats. Let's take a look at your mission costs.
Yeah. Right.
Minus your mission reward. It's the game is totally carried by its controls because it controls exactly the way you think it should in your mind. Like the way boosting, jumping, dashing, quick boosting, aiming, locking on, missile locking, spreading the missile lock.
No AC fingers required holding the controller backwards with the triggers up top and the sticks in your digits.
So one of the things that I remember, I feel so smart about this. I remember talking when Vati put out the video that had no UI. I was like, it really looks like it has a traditional Dark Souls style lock-on. And I think that it should have a traditional Dark Souls style lock-on if you want it for things that move really fast, because then you can, just control and make it go fast. And everyone told me I was fucking stupid. No, it totally has a traditional Dark Souls style lock-on that you only use for priority targets that are really fast or really big, right? So the average generic unmanned robots, helicopters, tanks,
soft
the
lock.
usual. Yeah, use the soft lock. Have your camera just point wherever it is, and if it's on the screen and it's within the bounding box of your robot will aim and shoot to wherever. However, if you are fighting another armored core or big old boss robot, you use target lock, at which point your robot will turn to face them like you would expect, right? And then your right thumb is free to do things like jump or quick boost, which is the dodge equivalent, within the actual thing. However, if the target is so fast that they are able to blow through, like blow past you off the screen, the lock will break. Okay. So like things that are just complete speed demons will, and kind of should, break your lock.
Anything,
you will have to reacquire them. A
rival or a boss or anything that's as good as you, which that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got like a nearly back-to-back when's AC6 followed by this isn't FF9 message combo where you're just you just fight to the death, y'all.
One of the other things is that you can unlock manual aiming for a third way in which you just turn all of the computerized aim assist completely off and get like a fucking FPS cursor.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's so fast. What is this for? And the answer is it's for sniping people way outside your range. Like outside your acquisition range.
Is there any PvP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure is.
So, because I'm immediately, the first thing I think is something like that would probably be like a skill option for people who are amazing at aiming.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So hey, man, you do a mission, then you go back to assembly, and you fuck with your robot parts, and the robot parts all seem very well balanced. Like the default, the starting robot that you start with in the tutorial is pretty good.
Okay.
Like I wanted to go either way heavier or way lighter, but regardless, I went and fucked with that and was like, yeah, no, this is a decent thing. I'd put like another shoulder weapon on the left shoulder, but otherwise than that, like the assault rifle you start with is a pretty good assault rifle. It has uses.
I've a lot of the older games, I almost exclusively would hear about the PvP aspect, especially long after the game comes out. The PvP element is what kind of survives on, and people have like tournaments and builds and all that stuff.
I played a couple PvP matches and they seem solid.
Yeah. So in this case, it hasn't come up. I haven't heard much about it, so that's why I guess I'm asking. But is it like a dedicated like mode, or is it like a passive aspect of the game?
It's you go into the nest menu and then you search for a room, or you create a room.
Okay.
No matchmaking. Kind of a bummer, but
so then levels and like tech and equipment and the ability to not get annihilated by someone with an incredible mech is just up in the air.
I'm gonna say that, and this is actually really important.
Soul memory.
My mech is not stronger than when I started. It's more specialized.
Tuned. It's tuned. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Most parts are side grades. I switched from the assault rifle to shotguns, and then I switched to a different shotgun, which does way more damage, but it takes way longer to reload. Right?
Side grades will still wreck your shit if they're specialized to like melt someone that doesn't know how to deal, of course. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, PvP is not super interesting to me on this. For me, there's the arena, which is you're fighting against like AI opponents of various weird ass builds, and then there's the missions themselves, which it's interesting. When you die and you go to a checkpoint, you have the ability to go back into your garage and switch your shit out with anything you currently own. And the reason for this is that I ran up against three of the very large scale bosses so far, and people are getting filtered the fuck out by these.
I'm hearing a lot
they
about
they are
one.
getting absolutely annihilated by some of these things. And the thing that people are not kind of realizing is that they're not like Sekiro reflex tests. They're like, the robot that you have built is not working out
right
for this robot. You need to change up your
configuration
approach
entirely. Yeah.
Like, I was running the lightest robot I could get a hold of with the most melee weapons and shotguns on top. Like, I wanted to be nose to nose on everything. And then I ran into Balteus, who is the Act 1 boss, who is a fucking motherfucker. And that took me a bit to deal with, because I had to modify the way I was doing something to make it work. And then I'm looking at people like just use the bubble, the bubble cannons that are good for dismantling shields, and I'm like, oh, I should have done that. That would have been much easier.
So,
that would have been much easier.
So the whole like the deprived can always find their way through the challenge thing is not applying here, because if your build sucks, then there's unavoidable damage.
Like there's a boss that has a weak point on the roof of the mech. And it's like, if you have quad legs and you can hover above the boss for 45 seconds and just shoot directly into the weak point, yeah, that's a lot easier. That's a lot easier than trying to fight the boss normally.
Cool. That's fun. Yeah, that's and I mean, I guess another FromSoft game, another holy shit, why, like, is this actually meant to be this hard discussion, and so on, even though,
I will
again,
say,
this is a legacy franchise, right?
The first boss that you have to fight with like a locked in robot is really hard. Like it's actually very like the helicopter that you fight in the first level with before you're able to change your mech out. Yeah, it's actually really hard. Like it's much more difficult than I would expect.
The the memories I have of my roommate playing it back in the day also didn't really seem like they were particularly they weren't very they didn't look very easy either. Like the old games looked pretty fucking hard. I'm thinking like wasn't there like isn't there, there's usually like a main numbered title and then like two or three versions after that add more and get more difficult and add complexity to it, right? Like or something to that effect. So like there's an expectation of like you've mastered the what's come before, so we're juicing that shit up and here comes the next level of challenge, right?
Oh yeah, so a really good example. There's a early Act 1 mission in which the mid boss is, hey, you are now going to be fighting an enemy AC, and it is an enemy AC that has interesting equipment and is piloted by a good AI pilot, right? I'm halfway through Act 2, and at the end of the mission, it's like, hey, you will now be fighting 2 enemy ACs with good ass pilots, and this is my favorite part, every single piece of equipment on these ACs is something that has never appeared before in the game.
Oh,
so
wow.
you don't like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't know what any of that shit does. Not a single fucking thing. I'm gonna have to learn by doing, I guess.
So how did you handle the I guess customization aspect of all this?
I decided to put reverse joint legs on my boy, and then I decided to go as light, and I went all melee and shotgun.
Not literally. I mean, as in like like I know when it comes to min-maxing versus just going with what you think is cool versus trying stuff out. Like there's always some goblins to get
Not
through.
really. I don't think that's kind of an issue here, because like you're gonna you have to start with your legs first. Your leg is going to inform every single other thing about your build, right? And you go, do I want to be reverse jointed, regular bipedal? Do I want to be quadruped, or do I want to be tank? And once you've made that, then you go, do I want to be, what weapons do I want to use? So then you go pick the weapons that you want to use. And then once you've got that, well, then you're going to pick your fire control system as ranges. Then you're going to be picking your generator to fit the needs of the weapons that you have. Then you're going to be picking the arms to fit the weight of the weapons you've equipped. Then you'll pick the chest and head for weight consideration, and then you're done.
So you never hit a point where you loaded out and then did a mission and you're like, fuck, this is not optimal. And then
no, what happened is I decided to go all in on the build that I really, really, really wanted to do, and then I hit Balteus, and my build was not good for Balteus. But I had sold every other part other than the ones that were currently on my robot. So even though I was going back to the checkpoint and could hit assemble, I had nothing different to equip, and I wasn't going to redo the mission. So fuck it, I'm going to learn how to do it with my laser sword. God damn it. And I learned how to do it with my laser sword, goddammit. And it was very, 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 very helpful. I will say,
I respect it. As a fist swinger, when everyone yells, shut up, don't do it, I respect that. That's good.
And now that I have done so, there's something really, 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 really important. If you know anything about Armored Core 6, this is the only thing anyone has to know. You can sell back parts to the store at cost.
Yay!
There's no downside to buying and trying out pieces and then selling them back.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
The other thing, and this is really important, if you go into AC data, you can save your AC layout. So I saved my fast guy, and then I made a tetrapod build. So I saved my tetrapod build, and then I made my tank. So then I saved my tank, right? And then I sold every single part. And then when I went to go load the tetrapod, it said, you don't have all the parts. Would you like us to buy them for you?
Wow.
And you go, yes. And then it buys back everything you need to make that build.
Wow. What a fucking awesome, yes, quality of life. That is very cool. Okay, Proud Souls all the way. Let the player play. Let the player fucking play. That is sick. No
So now,
downsides.
if I get to the next time I go into play, if I get into a sticky situation, I can just be like, I would like to switch
It's
from
just time.
blink to glimpse, or
Yeah,
glimpse to survey, or
it's
whatever.
it's just time. That's fantastic. Because yeah, like it's so easy to just be like, it's gonna cost you 25% or 50% if you sell it back, and so you're gonna have to grind a little bit more, and and just
Like
like
right now,
punish the fun.
I've done a bunch of missions on replay because I felt like it, but also because there's hidden collectibles and shit like that. And I went and I bought every generator and every fire control system and every booster, because those things are things that you're gonna tweak all over the place when you're moving weapons around, right? But yeah, no, hey, I don't know what to say. It's an incredibly super cool, well controlling action game with robot, and every time you play with the game and the robot, you go woo, 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 cool robot, yay. And
Yep.
you feel like you're playing with your toy.
Yep.
And then you go back to the garage and you spend like an entire evening just painting your toy like it's a
Yep.
gunpla. And then you ask your baby, do you think that's cool? And baby go goo goo gaga, because baby don't know nothing. And I'm like, thanks, baby. I appreciate the input.
That's 100% of the appeal of robots right there. That's it. Watch them move, paint them up, and then they do cool thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Sick.
And I'm now looking over at people chatting in the chat now that people are starting to beat the game. And apparently New Game Plus has new story and new missions. And New Game Plus has more story and new missions and parts.
Okay. Wow.
Last but not least, I want to say that so you go fight dudes in the arena. You go fight, there's like 35 or whatever it is, like custom robots that are going to be versus matches built by the game. And you download their data once you beat them. And then you go, and if you want, you can recreate them by just going to load their data. You can be like, I would like to play as this guy. Exactly. And all of them have red exclamation points because all of them used gear that I have not unlocked yet. There's a guy with a fucking energy whip. I'm like, when do I get the fucking energy whip? And the game says later. I'm like, but I want it. I want the fucking energy whip.
But once you see it, like, the question marks are unlocked?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
it's just the shit in the shit in the shop will unlock when it unlocks. But like they constantly show you robots that have shit that you don't have, and make you go, oh.
But
so like everything.
But the system
so like
is the one where you get all that you can see.
You will get all of it. So like the gigantic, robots that are just like, 10
Set
times
pieces.
the size of your mech.
Yeah.
That's a set piece boss. But every robot that is the same size as your robot, if they have something, you will get it eventually. So, and they constantly show like little cool things. Like, and I'm just like, I want that.
Nice.
But I can't have it yet, but I want it.
Okay.
I think that game is a good game, is what I am saying. I don't know about Pocket Dimension, man, but like it's fucking great. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Fucking good game. Like as soon as you control it, you're like, it's all the controls. Like controls are so important, particularly in action game. But like the robot does what I want it to do in the way that I want it to do it, and it looks the way I want it to look while it's doing it.
Yeah. So, of course, I'm gonna take a look at that this week at some point.
What? Shut the fuck up! You're crazy.
And we'll figure out when. So, yeah, I'll pop a schedule up there and we'll see. I'm just gonna feel my way through. Just gonna play what I can play, try shit, do whatever we can do. I did say when I saw that first trailer for it, I'm like, damn, the fuck are we doing? The fuck are we doing not playing Armored Core? We gotta do it. So, yeah. So yeah, anything else schedule-wise? Gotta use the bathroom, so let's just
Nothing I can think of right now. So
Okay.
you go ahead and use that bathroom.
Okay. But yes, we're gonna continue FF16 this week. We're gonna, and then I'm gonna also, I don't know. I'll take a look and I'll see what, but I'm gonna try to fit what I can, and
The robot goes fast.
I'm
Oh,
gonna.
actually, there is more for me to talk about. We'll talk about it when you get your go up to your wiener.
All right, BRB.
Go.
You were saying.
Hello. I was saying I also played a bunch of Blasphemous 2, a game that I liked the prequel so much that I 100%ed it on camera on stream, which I don't usually do with games, and was so excited for Blasphemous 2. And then once it decided to come out the same day as Armored Core 6, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Blasphemous 2. I'm sorry, but you have now been moved to Sunday with baby time. That's where you get to live. That game is incredible. That Blasphemous 2 is fucking fantastic.
Blasphemous 1 was fucking sick.
Yeah, so Blasphemous 2, more blasphemous. It feels better. It looks a little better. You're up against the miracle once again. All that weird Spanish Catholic shit everywhere. It's a Metroidvania. Guess what? You do Metroid shit. There's a grid. You get upgrades. Yada yada. The big difference. So in the original game was that you got the mea culpa, which was the sword that you saw Blasphemous Man, Penitent One, using in all the promotional and all the footage. This game starts and goes, no more mea culpa. Because of your actions in Blasphemous 1's DLC, blah, 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 the mea culpa is gone. No more regular sword. And so the first thing that happens when you start the game is you pick your weapon. And you pick between a gigantic censer, which is a giant mace with a giant flail. You get to choose between a rapier and a dagger, or you get to choose between like a curved short sword. And they all function differently. They all have different move sets. They all have very, very different upgrade trees, which is also a new thing. So they get a wide variety of moves, and they all feel really good. But more importantly, all three of them have different let's go. Oh, I'm losing. Go ahead. Yeah, all three of them have different traversal abilities for the environment. So I can't remember their names because they're all in Spanish. The gigantic flail is able to hit bells, and the bells will create shockwaves that either create platforms or evaporate doors. The rapier and dagger let you smash shields and then teleport around, and the curved sword lets you do a drop down attack which destroys wood that will cause you to not be able to go places.
Okay.
And what this means is that
important question. In one, did you, I guess, towards the end of the game, did you only have sword abilities, or did you ever?
Yeah, no, you only got the sword. The whole.
Okay.
So in this, you get all three, and they each have their different traversal ability. So I picked the sensor first, and as a result, the places you can go in the first part of the game are determined by your weapon choice, because they have Metroidvania style traversal abilities built into them. And so I had to use that, and there was a very specific path I could have gone that would have fit for the mace. And then I got the dagger and rapier, and then I got the curved sword. And so your first set of abilities is getting all of the weapons. And then you get a double jump, and then you get a dash, and then and so on and so forth.
Nice. Okay.
But Blasphemous had really good actual fighting. And this having the three weapons really makes the fighting a lot more interesting, because they all have different ranges. They all feel really great. They all have a bunch of moves that you unlock. And it's an excellent, weird Catholic Metroidvania with a fucking incredible soundtrack and incredible visual motif weird setting.
Does each weapon have a comparable tree of unlocks to the original sword?
Well, yeah, because the first sword really didn't have a tree of unlocks at all.
Okay.
It had a couple new moves you would get, whereas these have full based skill trees with so it is so there's triple the weapons, but each weapon is triple the depth of the original mea culpa.
Nice.
So it's 10 times as much combat variety. It's great. It's just great. It's just great. The story is still totally inscrutable. I'm not Spanish or Catholic.
It's religious nonsense. Go.
It is just going right over my fucking head, the whole thing. I am not privy to a single cultural touchstone that this game is drawing from.
Sins and guilt and blood and, righteousness, yada yada. It's fine.
I don't get it, but it's cool. And I like the way people say the miracle. Miracle's bad news.
Miracle.
We got to stop. We got to stop the birth of Jesus in this game, I think. I'm not sure. I
mean, I also remember that sprite art was fucking glorious too.
It is. It's still glorious. I was playing it, and Paige didn't see me play Blasphemous 1, but she's been seeing me play Blasphemous 2, and she'll, like, look up, and, like, every single enemy's death animation is just vicious and brutal. And it'll have that moment of the wife next to you looking up and go, oh, God. Oh. Oh, no.
Nice.
Like, it's great. It's a great game. It's a great game. It's a game I would have dedicated many stream hours to were it not to release in the absolute fucking nexus.
Gamepocalypse. Yeah.
Like, I got goddamn Baldur's Gate and fucking Starfield and Armored Core this week, and
Sea of
like
Stars.
I'm looking at that, and Sea of Stars, and I'm looking at that, and I'm just like, that's just not gonna change for. I haven't even looked at Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
I should. I probably should. Lies of P is in 3 weeks. I was excited for Lies of P. Now the only lie of P is the lie that I'd get to play it. Got him.
Decent.
I'm happy with that. I just thought of that just now. I thought that was pretty good.
Not bad.
How am I gonna learn to unlock my P organs? Probably the funniest thing I've seen in a while is that the unlock tree in that game is called your P organs.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the last time we saw the more footage, there was a discussion about how it was like, oh, no, there was a demo, right?
Yeah, there was a demo. The demo's
Right.
like 2.5 hours long.
Right. And I remember you were saying it's actually not bad. Yeah.
I would actually say it's quite good.
I mean, yeah, that's just that's lower priority. There's no other way to split it.
I believe that I believe that Soul style games keep their visual value for eyeballs. That's what I think. Oh, also the Cyberpunk DLC, which is actually we've finished Cyberpunk. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, it's on the docket actually.
It's funny. It's like hilarious.
I legitimately like the trailer for Phantom Liberty and the new stuff in it. I'm like, okay, this looks like I'm going to enjoy my time. I'm looking at everything going on in it, and I'm like, yep, it looks pretty fucking good. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
And I go, boy, I'm glad I just didn't bother with it until they said they were finished.
Yeah, there seems to be no downside to just getting the complete slick, cleaned up version of that with vehicle combat and better melee and a million other things.
Police that aren't teleporting robots.
Yep.
Edge Runners references.
Edge Runners references. Oh shit! You have the icon. It's right there. I know who that is. Yeah.
Hey, can you give me 15 seconds to run into the fridge to get something to drink?
BRB.
They got
All
Susie
right.
in the game now.
They do. Yeah. No, that's definitely I'm probably my own time, but I don't know. We'll see. You know, but I'm legitimately curious after that new trailer.
I think the list of things that were the like Phantom Liberty stuff is like, oh, that's nice, and then they list the things coming as like the patch to the game, and you're like, that seems way larger than the thing you're trying to get me to buy.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
also,
like completely redone the entire melee system. That seems like a really big thing to have in a patch.
it's also interesting because this is another tabletop-based game, so you have a direct comparison to the way that Baldur's Gate plays. But in this case, it's like, well, it's still going to be an action game, but the setting is going to be as in-depth as a tabletop setting should be here. You know, but gameplay-wise, there will not be anything approaching that level of openness, I'm sure. But if, you know, what they advertise is like, oh, in terms of just like tech hacking, you know, being what was the fucking choom, was it? Call it whatever the slurs were in the.
I don't know about choom, man. I don't know about it.
Okay. Well, in any case, I do wonder if, like, okay, so here's your little icons, here's your little references to edgerunners and stuff, but somewhere in the background there's legitimately discussions being had about edgerunners content itself, you know. Feels like it's money on the table to grab. I would not be surprised if we hear about something much more directly related at some point in the future. They could keep it separate, but, you know, considering how popular it was, feels like it'd be a smart move. Anyway.
I don't know why my brain just completely failed. I can't remember a single thing you just said, despite listening to you.
There's
more caffeine. It is.
There's references in the form of a quest and missions and such from the show. Yeah, I guess the question would, well, anyway, I mean, you can, there's literally always a here.
Probably watch Edgerunners.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You definitely should.
I should probably do that.
It's pretty fucking good. But no, yeah, you can, I could always see there being a, like, let's legitimately let you play as something or do something, like, directly in that storyline as opposed to the other bits. But, yeah, you know what, I don't know what the current references are, to be honest. I'm not too aware of it, but that shit's cool. It's very, very cool, and it single-handedly, I mean, the setting itself sounded always awesome, but Edgerunners made me really interested, you know, so anyways, yeah, so for me, like I said, this week we're going to continue FF16, gonna take a look at A.C.E., and I'll figure out the rest of the schedule. I'm not too sure yet. There's some I might have a quick look at a game that is, I don't think I can announce yet, but we'll see. But anyway, Wooly Versus on Twitch, Wooly Versus on YouTube. Check it out. I'm gonna have some fun stuff coming your way. And I'll pick back up as well with some of the games we've started. You know, like I've everything that's kind of just like in a non-committal quick look phase will pop up whenever randomly. So don't overthink it. If you see a thumbnail with a number on it or not a number on it or any of that shit, the answer is I don't know, man. I'm just playing the video games and I'll see how this goes. I'm committed to the LPs we're going through, but you know, I also might feel like playing a bit more of this, that, or whatever. So
just extend it into a 2-week-long rotation.
I mean, just there's that. There's that. You know, again. There's an amount of time that me and Reggie get to have together in a given week, and when we do some long streams, like recently we've done a couple long streams going extra, and we did some extra on Friday as well, and like
just don't let Reggie leave.
There you go, chain him down.
Yeah, dude. Bro. Just don't, just like he's about to leave and then just be like, no.
You gonna do a bunch of Starfield?
Yes.
Cap.
Yes, I am.
All right. Let's
By
get.
the way, check out a sponsored stream of Starfield later this week.
Yeah, there you go.
They actually just sent me the code, but I mean, it's the code for the early access. So, like, yeah, okay.
That counts.
That counts.
Okay. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll get into the news. this week, the podcast is sponsored by Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is here to get you looking better than you currently do. Clothing.
Wooly, you ever have a situation where you're walking around the house in your pajama pants, but you're kind of a fat guy, so your pajama pants have a wide waist, but then you're really short, so your pajama pants are actually really long, and you're holding your new baby, and your wife is like, you are going to trip with that shit and drop the baby. And I'm like, well, I don't have a solution because I'm too small. And then the solution is you go into the kitchen and get scissors and just cut the bottoms of your pajama pants on. So now your pajama pants are slightly uneven, but luckily you sit at a desk all day, so no one will notice until you tell everyone during an ad read.
No.
I think there's a better solution to this issue than my solution.
I have not experienced that. What I have experienced is buying a bunch of clothes in the middle of quarantine that are basically just stretchy sweatpants that can fit all sizes and girths, and then no longer now being able to fit into a bunch of the clothes because of the change in shape in my body. Therefore, I have a whole bunch of new clothes to get. If
kind of good problem to have.
It's
though.
a good problem to have. Now, it would be nice if you could just look at yourself on like a character select screen and just cycle through options and go bop, 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 and try out all the combinations. But it takes long, and it's hard, and you don't even know if what you're looking at is good, if you don't have any fucking internal drip meter to tell you what works and what doesn't. So that's where Stitch Fix is gonna cover your inefficiencies. Basically, they got a bunch of stylists that can take a look at you. They can read your situation, and they can you fill out a test that more or less gives them an idea of what your tastes are, what your sizes are, and your overall preferences, brands you like, as well as your budget. And then they get to work with over 1,000 brands and styles. They put together a combination that fits you. Stylists that know how to make you look good and dress for any occasion, casual, formal, whatever the deal. They ship them straight to your door, and you keep what you like, you send back what you don't. And they show you how to wear them together as well. So if you even are having a hard time figuring out how to put the arm in the hole and how to shirt, because sometimes it can. I've seen that go bad sometimes. It's rough. So they'll even help you out with that. Stitch Fix has you covered. Trust the experts to help you get your style game up. And of course, they are seasonal with their updates. So you've got summer game going, you've got autumn coming up, and they're always rotating with the best options for you. If you don't like anything, shipping and returns and exchanges are always free. So, thanks Stitch Fix. They know how to get your style going. Give them a shot. You can try out stitchfix.com/superbeast, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That's stitchfix.com/superbeast. One more time, stitchfix.com/superbeast. Thanks, Stitch Fix.
Thanks, Stitch Fix.
The podcast this week is also brought to you by HelloFresh. Hello, Fresh.
That's what I say when HelloFresh arrives at the door.
That's it. What are you getting? You're getting food delivered straight to you. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be kept cool. It's going to be ready to cook in a very short amount of time. They've got 15 minutes or less till you get a tasty, satisfying meal made in your own kitchen if you get some of the quick and easy dinner options. They also got breakfasts and lunches. They've got tons of choices, and you are saving money on groceries. You're also able to customize if you want to get a little bit more going on your sides, on your snacks, whatever your weekly order is. You can drop by the HelloFresh Market, take your time to pick from a selection of over 100 add-on items. And everything they send, as per usual, is pre-proportioned with the ingredients and instructions simple and easy to follow. So you can make yourself some good-ass food real quick while saving money on groceries, getting it fresh at your door when you want it, as you want it, with the options you want. They've got vegetarian, vegan, protein, calorie smart, balanced, all kinds of options no matter what your diet is. If you're going fit and wholesome, you got new stuff to try as well. So, yeah, get on in there. I know I enjoy the chicken pesto on a regular basis. That stuff is delicious. And fan of tacos as well, even though I'm not pronouncing it properly. Taco?
I was about to say, did you just fucking say
Taco?
tacos?
Taco.
You lost your mind? You can't say tacos in this HelloFresh advertisement. HelloFresh deserves better. They're delicious.
I mean, it depends on how south you are, right? Like the further
You live in Canada.
Yeah. So the further south you go, the more you say taco, and the higher up you go, the more the ah becomes ah.
That's a lie. You have lied to everyone with this explanation.
Man, we didn't even have famous taco chains up here for a long time. That's correct.
Oh, no.
Because the quality of the meat they used to serve was so poor that they would not sell it to Quebec. So, of course, we can't fucking say it properly.
Quebec, I say it fine!
But nonetheless, you can get quality ingredients, not like that awful stuff that I was describing from the place that we don't even want to talk about, if you're going with the HelloFresh. So to do that, get on down to hellofresh.com/50superbeast and use the code 50superbeast, and you're going to get 50% off plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/50superbeast. And when you use the code 50superbeast, you're getting 50% off plus free shipping. That is America's #1 meal kit. Thanks, HelloFresh.
Thanks, HelloFresh.
Last but not least, cha-ching is the sound of a sale on Shopify. Yeah. You can hear that sound on a regular basis if you're on Shopify. If you're not, you might be missing out. The deal is real simple. Lots of businesses worldwide are trying to figure out how to keep up with the times, how to revolutionize their commerce platforms, and Shopify is here to help you out with that. If you are like us and you're like, hey, I know how to talk into a microphone and click a button, that's my specialty, maybe even play a game. I don't know how to sell a t-shirt, but this is exactly where Shopify steps in and is like, we got you covered. We'll set you up with the site that you need. We'll get you with all the information, your metrics on how your sales are going. They expand with you as your business grows, and you are in control of every sales channel. So once you've reached your audience, Shopify has the internet's best converting checkout to help you turn your customers from browsers into buyers. I know that if you have to figure out again the steps it takes to click a button and then just add something to a cart, do you know how hard that is? That takes a lot of work.
So I don't know how hard that is, but I bet it's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard to just click a button and add something to a cart. That is a wild amount of stuff going on. If I had to program that myself, I would just give up and cry. I just stop. I'd be like, sorry guys, I tried to do it, but I don't know how to cart. Right? So, Shopify can help power up your businesses 10% of all e-commerce in the US is already covered by Shopify. So, yeah. Award-winning support is there to help you with every step of the way. You can sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/superbeast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/superbeast to take your business to the next level today. Shopify.com/superbeast. Cha-ching. Thank you, Shopify.
Thanks, Shopify.
Okay, what is going on this week? Let's get right into it. So you touched on it a little earlier, but yeah, they showed off some Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty new ways to play. The trailer dropped on the ONL Keighley event, where a couple other things were shown off. Nothing.
Yeah, I have something to talk about showing things off at the Jeff Keighley Gamescom event. You know what my favorite part got shown off? The fact that they don't have any security on that fucking stage for some reason. What the fuck is going on? What are they doing?
So last time, you had the intruder, the FromSoft intruder, who, again, it turns out he was some kind of, like, viral fucking troll that...
Viral weirdo.
He was known for being a troll and has other videos of him doing stuff online or whatever, so it's like, okay, that was coordinated and planned and yada yada. But, what, like... So it's just... Like, the one time I remember the Game Awards, I was like, when I was in the audience there, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just in the auditorium and the stage is right there. In theory, Invasive Thoughts can tell you to just get up and walk up on that stage, you know? But one always has to assume that, well, somewhere off in the shadows, a bunch of large, ready-to-tackle guards would be right there within seconds, just in case you're crazy or dangerous. You know, maybe even a fucking sniper in the rafters, or someone to drop a sandbag on you from above. Mm-hmm. But what the fuck? Apparently nothing. Apparently anyone can just walk up on stage at any time and actually do whatever they want.
It's weird. If I was at that event and I was like, I'm gonna go fight Todd Howard, I would have been able to run up and fight Todd Howard. I would have lost. He would clearly kick my ass, but I could have run the attempt. That's stupid.
Some people can't help but give in to the dork urge. They can't control it. You have to balance the actions. Otherwise, it gets the best of you. So what the fuck happened this time?
Some weirdo just walked on in just the middle of Jeff talking and was like, GTA 6 was GTA 6. And then like a bunch of security just like kind of walked up and like stood there. They didn't like I expect when somebody goes to an area where they are not supposed to be and security exists for them to be physically ejected. I grew up watching Jerry Springer. You remember Steve? You remember Bald Steve?
Steve Wilkos? Yes.
Yeah, he would fucking solve problems. Why is there no big bald man solving problems at the Gamescom?
I mean, on the one hand, you'd think they'd learn from last time. On the other hand, fucking Chris Rock can get slapped at the Oscars.
Yeah,
so,
well, who's gonna want to stop Will Smith from walking up there?
Yeah, well, you would think that again, there's people in prime tackle state ready to go just in case. But now, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
Shame on. You can't fool me again.
Can't fool me again.
It's like all these years later, it's still one of the funniest fuck ups I've ever heard in my life.
So now, you know, now the third troll will be our lucky troll. Really, if this happens again, because now it's like now we've established a combo.
Yeah. So right? now we've established that you can just walk up there, which, I mean, copycats is the thing. So like, if I was going to present something on that floor. I would want to see a bunch of burly ass dudes standing at that area, right before the stage.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Well,
someone's going to try it next time.
It's not just that, but also Keighley events often have, like, hey, look, there goes Keanu Reeves or anyone else that's, guesting in one of these games. Who was the other celebrity that appeared the other day? That came out? Nick Cage, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, there's a bunch of fucking...
There's nothing
people with personal security going on.
There's nothing stopping anyone from seeing Keanu Reeves up on the stage and going, I bet I can rush the stage and try and steal one of his shoes.
Yeah.
Other than Keanu Reeves, apparently.
Again, the dork urge, the intrusive thought. And then now with the pattern of two, someone who's not at all the first two people might just be like, well, yeah, now we just have to keep it going at this point, right? There might just be like now the funny thing, now the shame is if I don't do it.
Yeah.
So
now this is the part where I'm just gonna indulge in my own brain for a moment, and Woolie's gonna roll his eyes like he always does. You know what they should do?
Have at it then. Bit.
They should just let Jeff just hold a pistol.
Okay.
The whole time. That's the entire thought.
Okay.
They should just let him hold a pistol.
Just holding it.
For the entire show.
Coming up next, world premiere. Yep, just holding it. I follow.
And we'll just see.
I follow.
What happens.
Mm-hmm. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Nothing else to it. Just holding on to it.
I just had this image of like Jeff shooting into the crowd going, Starfield is the game of the year.
I'll protect you, Mr. Kojima. I'll protect you. Kojima's like, I am okay. Yes, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. All right. Well, look, the problem is that you can use guns to make people feel how they want about Starfield, but
and was now confused about like, wait, we're using guns to make people feel a certain way about Starfield? What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had forgotten already that I had said, okay, yeah, you can make people feel a lot of ways about a lot of things with guns.
You can.
Yeah.
Right? No, hold on. Follow along. I'm going somewhere with this. Including if you get yourself an early copy of the game and decide to start leaking footage of it. Right? So,
oh, man.
So most of the time, when someone leaks some footage of a game, it's like, oh, shit, like, my uncle works for Microsoft. I forgot a build somewhere or whatever is going on. And then someone starts uploading their footage of their game that they got early. Well, in this case...
as you do.
Yeah, in this case, Starfield footage start leaking online, and it was like,
Shocker.
oh shit.
Shocker.
Some account has uploaded 45 minutes of gameplay, which everyone was like, what the fuck? How did this happen?
Then you look at it for a little bit, and you're like, yeah, no, that's definitely a real copy. Wow, okay.
Immediately followed by, oh, Jesus, this person does not play video games at all.
Which means they stole it.
They have no idea what's going on. So, following up with that footage, then immediately is the person who uploaded it starts then putting up copies for sale of Starfield. And
I missed this part. Are you serious?
Yes. And you can then go click through, and they have photos of physical copies, many of them, which they then put up on the The Japanese eBay site. I forgot its name.
Bro.
But like, you could Mercari. You could go over to Mercari and start ordering multiple versions, regular edition, Constellation editions, the ones that come with the watch, yada yada, all kinds of different versions. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Right? And yeah, eventually they kind of, after taking down some of the footage that the leaker uploaded and then seeing this shop, the leaker then uploads footage of himself reviewing the game. And he's like, yeah, world's first review gameplay of Starfield. No offense, Todd Howard. And so the reviewer, he's like, hey, yo, Todd, no offense, man. That's a good game. And then, they were saying I was playing like a beginner because I'm not a game expert or nothing, but I was just trying something out, but that's a good game, y'all. I don't want y'all to miss it. Just, dude was just going in and everyone's like, what is happening?
What are you doing, man?
And then, so then he got arrested. He got arrested, and then they found...
no shit, he got arrested.
And then they found, like, tons of copies and a gun, and they're like, oh, he, like, literally, like, jacked a truck or something, and literally
he stole it.
Physically stole a bunch of... Yeah, like, this is not
when we say stole, we're not talking about video game piracy. We are talking about,
old school,
like, high seas piracy.
Yeah.
With a gun and a cutlass.
So, if I'm not mistaken, they found 67 copies of the game, which unfortunately was not 76 copies of the game. But, dude just straight up did that. And then posted the leak, and then posted the sales, and then posted his review. And then especially to and look, all I can say is even the thief of the game here was not immune to the comments, right? Even the thief here doxed himself in order to say, hey man, I know you also were saying I was playing bad, but nah, I was just trying something.
God damn it, it's impossible. You can't get away.
All right?
Fuck.
Just so you know, he showed his face on camera, put out his government, threw that all up there just because people were calling him out on his gameplay, and he was like, nah, man, I gotta say something.
Oh my God.
Could not resist.
Good God, Lord.
So let that be a lesson to all of you. Oh, fuck. What the shit, dude. What a wild story. Anyway, yeah. So, we'll see what happens with that. He posted bail, and they're figuring out the rest of it, but Jesus Christ. Man.
Oh, that guy's going to jail.
Yeah.
That guy's going to jail.
Well, it's like, the question, I guess, is just like, was it from a truck that was like on the way to a store, or was it?
I bet it was from a factory. I bet it was from like the disc factory.
Yeah.
That's where a lot, like, hijacking a truck, and that's like, robbery, but like stealing from your warehouse, that's like larceny. Oh, you worked in a warehouse? Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Todd, no offense, man. That's a good game. Shit. All right. So there you go. Guns can influence how one feels about Starfield, right?
God.
Yeah.
Don't put your fucking... I follow a guy on TikTok that's like a lawyer that just like tells you not to do stupid shit.
Sure.
Like, don't film yourself committing crimes.
Like those two dudes that are like, it's Shut the Fuck Up Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, like it's like the story it had all the angles of the classic leak, but it was missing the guy's reflection in the TV. going, oh man, you can totally see me. We were missing the self docs, so the leaker here was sure to upload supplemental material known as Exhibits B through C of literally just his face going, Starfield is pretty good.
Hey, it's me. I'm the one who did the crimes. It was me.
Anyway.
Oh, the worst.
That's fine. So the other things that were announced as well, they showed off Persona 3 Reload, some more footage of the team.
Dude, that game looks so weird.
I think it looks incredible.
It looks incredible until you get into a fight, and then you're on the basic Tartarus background
because we're going back to the basics, right? And this is what the one thing I want to know about how they're handling this is why aren't they calling it Persona 1 Reloaded? No.
Oh man, yeah. Let's just re-release 3, 4, and 5 and just call them 1, 2, and 3.
Persona 5, the prequel, Persona 1,
and then Persona 5 Scramble is like off in a different dimension because it was made by a different company.
So I want to know, and I really hope that they actually make Tartarus have unique, interesting levels and aspects to it.
No, they're not. They're not going to do that.
Because that was probably like the biggest, best change over those games has been the dungeons got more interesting over time. And 5 having mementos as an option to like get your Tartarus going on, but you still have the main dungeons as like major plot in like unique things. It's one of the biggest and best changes over time.
They will not. They will add more floors.
Then make the floors more unique through randomization. Do something.
No.
Do something. Watching, because again, right now, Punch Mom's currently going backwards and working her way through 3. And it is interesting just watching how, like, now that she's used to, and she knows, like, okay, the quality of life is going to get worse because we're going back in time and things are going to get, more annoying, and, like, Demon Fusion is going to get more annoying and all that stuff. So, like, that's all fine. But, like, things being more tedious and like having less to do in the social aspect is not that bad overall, especially if you're like, oh, but the characters are still fine and you're getting to hang out with them and do stuff, and overall the setting is still interesting. But the parts where you just gotta hit those floors and each one is kind of just a random generated but not random generated thing, and there's nothing but random monsters and nothing unique going on to it, is like the part that she's struggling with the most, And I'm like, yeah, I hear that. That.
That's just how it's gonna be.
That's how it be, and
that's just how it's gonna be, man.
Even if it something like, there's a lot of ways you could tackle that. And if you are super traditionalist, then you can just be like, no, keep it faithful, don't you ever. And it's like, fine. I would say in terms of from the least change to the most change, at bare minimum, if you were like a traditionalist that wanted nothing to change with it, I would say then please record a fuck ton more unique conversations so that the characters can talk to each other a lot while you're doing this boring,
that might be a
thing, right? At bare minimum, give us more conversations like you would in Mementos so that we can enjoy something while this grindy ass fucking tower is going down, And then on the other side of it, like legitimately change things up to be more interesting, or add more to the levels, or add more to the, when you hit the bosses, if you're hitting them and they're the same kind of bosses, like add more unique character-based things to those moments and interactions, that's my biggest hope. But beyond that, I mean, fuck yeah, dude. Like, looks fucking great. Um, and yeah, so it is being pushed as like Game Pass, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and Windows PC. But it is coming out on everything simultaneously, right?
I believe so. I
That
don't
was
see
just
anything.
okay. That was just the way they were marketing it in that trailer. Okay. Um, not Switch. Ah. Okay. So then we saw Cyberpunk. We saw Persona. Tekken 8 showed off a little bit more. They confirmed a lot of those leaked characters. So, Yoshimitsu, Steve Fox, Dragonoff, etc. Wait, no, was it Dragonoff? No, wait, hold on. I think I'm getting that wrong. The leak list was essentially shown off, and when they revealed that the characters, they also revealed a like fake battle hub, and it was it was really strange. Did you see that?
I
So
did. It was
there,
very.
it looks like 6 dropped and the battle hub dropped, and then they kind of went, fuck, shit, okay, hold on, let's get something going real quick here. Or that conversation maybe started a year ago or so, and they started trying to put together something similar, and they made it, but it's you with your avatar looking like, like you're dressed up and everything, walking around an arcade, sitting at cabinets, and there's Harada sitting doing commentary, and you're seeing NPCs and yada yada, but it's single player and it's offline, and that is the weirdest shit ever, because like the entire point of like why like the battle hub is, pretty basic, but overall ends up being fine, because you're like, yeah, but it's fun that there's a bunch of other people here and you can do all these different like, wild wacky online modes together.
I just want to hang out with Kazuya and see his sneaker collection, man.
And World Tour is a huge expensive commitment that clearly they're like, no, we're going to do our normal Tekken narrative. We're not doing a World Tour. So like, hey, that's fine. Tekken does its own story mode, its own way. So, and the dress up mode is all there. But yeah, the this whole sort of thing just kind of reads weird, because you'd expect from the way it looks for it to be this online thing where other people are sitting at cabinets with you, especially because prior to even Battle Hub existing, even in Arxis games, you would like have your little cute character sit down at a cabinet and fight against somebody in their matchmaking systems. Yes, Virtua Fighter 4 Quest mode did have that type of setup where you could go and then play at different arcades and fight the different people from the different strong players from those arcades. But it's been quite a few years since Virtua Fighter 4 Quest mode. And I think a lot of people looking at that footage are going to assume right off the bat that this is going to be an online feature, because
why would something in Tekken be an online feature?
Well,
they don't even have like good matches as an online feature.
Of course, but I mean from the outside looking in, if you're like, oh yeah, Street Fighter 6 just added this casual fun thing to do with my friends, like and like, oh looks like Tekken's gonna have it too. It seems like that would be the deal, especially because you're doing costume unlocks and dress up and all that stuff. And when you have the little chibi style avatar characters, it feels as if the whole point of those things is to show them off to each other. And
oh man, those things look like Xbox Live avatars, man.
100% in proportion. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, very, very, very strange with that. They do say outright in the trailer single player, but I'm talking about if anyone is coming from the outside, like
it's like the battle hub,
casually,
man.
To Tekken looking in, you'd think, oh yeah, you're getting your own battle hub, and it's not quite that.
And they're like, no freakazoids, we promise. I'm like, but I like the freakazoids.
And it does
I like that.
Immediately make me wonder if they're like, yeah, like there was a thought about making this online, but then they couldn't figure it out in time.
They were like, oh man.
Harada did talk though at the round table when they had the fight
latency.
He talked back 2 or 3 roundtables ago about how they were working on AI and how he thinks AI is the future
Shut
of
up.
stuff, right? And
Shut up, Harada.
like learning from the player and all that stuff. And that's when I was like, why are we going this way with it? So this is where that's going to show up.
I will create a new form of life rather than add rollback into your game.
It just sucks because I'm repeating the point again, beating the dead horse with this, but the systems used to make the game learn your playstyle could be used to do so many better things. The analysis to create your ghost in Samurai Showdown and to create it in Killer Instinct and to create it in and even in Virtua Fighter in the way they did that, it could be used to give you goals to improve, to feel better about your gameplay from moment to moment, and how to see mistakes.
Hey, I have
or
an idea.
habits, but instead we're doing this with it.
I have
Sucks.
a really good idea for Harada. What if Harada, what if you used AI to help improve the way people can play your game by training the AI to recognize what people are going to do in a match before the latency is thrown out, and then the AI can plan. The AI can plan for the actions that it thinks the player will do, and then if the player doesn't do those things, the AI
takes over.
Can take over and go back.
Yes.
Just go back, AI.
Yes.
And have the positions set back to what the AI thought was going to happen.
That's pretty good, actually. That is the future. That is pretty good. I like that.
I think that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
The other thing that's in the future is me pissing my pants if I don't get up right now. Can you excuse me?
Go do it. Go piss your pants. All right. Did you fry some chicken?
A little bit. I also took the time to take the dog out pee and then kiss the baby and then kiss the wife and then kiss the cat and then realize I had to shit and then did a quick shit.
That's more than frying chicken.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so what you were mentioning about Tekken actually made me think of a couple different things I was going to bring up. So one, the trailer also showed off Kuma, who is now basically the Fry's dog, who's sitting there waiting for Heihachi. Excuse me. If it takes 1,000 summers, I will wait for you. Kuma's now using advanced Kuma-style Heihachi Mishima arts, and is not. No one gave Kuma the memo that Heihachi Mishima is dead, so he's waiting for his master.
I think Kuma becoming the new Heihachi is like the best way this could have possibly gone, because Panda's right there. If you want the Kuma moveset.
I mean, I assumed, like I said, for me, it's like drop his spirit in Mokujin. That's my preferred way to do it.
That's even dumber.
But Kuma becoming the true inheritor is also pretty good. And yes, and Panda can distinguish the moveset. Yeah, could be. So that and Kuma also has the headband and has become the true son, even though Heihachi has no fewer than 18 children across the world. Kuma is the one true inheritor.
He's the realest one.
Also, there's something just kind of hilarious about Law yelling, "I hate rich people," wearing a full gold 3-piece suit as a DLC costume you could put him in.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of amazing. But yeah. Anyway, so as you were mentioning AI earlier, that reminds me. I wanted to mention earlier, but Black Mirror came back and
did it?
Yeah, and I've seen 3 episodes so far. Not in order because of Netflix's stupid playlist system is fucked up and dumb. When you scroll backwards through the seasons, they go from bottom to top, and then on the most recent season it inverts. So imagine if you were counting.
That's stupid as hell.
It's so dumb. So you count it 1 to 10 from the bottom up, and then 11 to 20, and then immediately after 20 you go straight to 30 and then count down to 21. It's insane. But whatever. I'm always a huge fan of Black Mirror, and as you mentioned, like the AI stuff, it just brings that back to mind because it feels as if they definitely took to heart. There was an interview they did some time ago where they're like, we didn't mean for Black Mirror to cut so close to home during the quarantine, when it was just like, oh fuck, everything.
Oh man,
all the horrors are reality. We didn't want that to.
What if the guy fucked a pig?
Right.
What a zany reality.
What if my mom run on batteries?
Oh,
exactly.
That's the classic.
Right. Like, so now you take that, and then it feels like they've distinguished into, like, I think like 3 different kinds. There's the celebrity guest, wacky, zany, haha, like episodes that are kind of like the social media one, where the stakes are fairly light and everything's fairly goofy, and there's going to be a little bit of like mums running on batteries in there, and it's going to be the classic Black Mirror, but that's all and then there's going to be the sorry for traumatizing everybody, let's just do a send up to another genre, and
let's do a Twilight Zone episode essentially entirely.
And that's fine too, that's all fun, but like the stuff that made me love it and the stuff that made it like one of my favorite shows ever is the horror, the existential horror, the shit that gets way too close and hits on shit that is like just current or a little bit past it. And the second episode, Lock Henry absolutely does that, and it just, I'm without saying much, I would just like to say go check that out. It's pretty good, and I would like. There's a thing that it talks about that it gets into, which I've had conversations about offline that I would like to discuss here, but I can't get into it until you filter it out for anyone who has or has not seen it. But I'm like, what are they going to talk about? We've already done a bunch of robot AI shit. We've already done a bunch of, tech horror shit and da-da-da-da-da. What other topics can we get into? And like, they got into one that I was like, ooh, that's a good one, because I've been thinking about exactly that. So yeah, go check out.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you say an offline conversation?
No. Okay, there's like the topics that happen in Black Mirror are pretty good ones that like touch on a bunch of like again future potential horror things like that. And there's always a conversation I have with Punch Mom after we watch each one about like how
offline conversation, wife conversation. Got it.
Yes, exactly. About like
those are the conversations that now happen offline.
Yes, correct. And so and like this one, like the second episode did a really good job, I think, just touching on a subject that I don't think anyone else has particularly touched on yet, that has been in my brain for the last couple of years in terms of media and what's going on now. So, and I'm like, ooh, good fucking pull.
So I have to say, like, maybe I think I missed the mark on that one. I was implying like, who do we even talk to offline anymore? It's wife.
Yeah. That's
wife is who you talk to offline.
And sometimes
maybe.
Sometimes I push something at Reggie, and then that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are conversations that you have with Reggie on camera on or offline?
What?
If you're sitting there on the couch with Reggie and you're streaming and you talk to him, is that an online conversation or an offline conversation?
That's an
Black Mirror.
What if Reggie ran on batteries? Yeah. Fuck. The answer is yes. Anyway, no. So I want to bring that up. That's good. And I think go check out Lock Henry. Also relevant because we're talking about Tekken, right? I don't know if you caught the fucking wind, but I don't know if you know, but as of last night, Zangief is the best character in the game, bro.
Hey, man, I gotta say, I really want to say, Snake Eyes, you are a hero to everyone, and you are also a villain to everyone. Because
unstoppable.
This man dominating the worst matchup in the entire game.
So for those who don't know, the Capcom Pro Tour event started out, and the tournament was this weekend. I even entered and did what I could, had a little run, ran right into Flux Waves, and that was that. So, but the main U.S. West tournament was grand finals, fucking Snake Eyes as Zangief versus Renault as JP, and the worst matchup, so to speak, in the game.
It's the worst one, right? Like, nothing feels that bad.
And he fucking did it. And he won as Geef. And the way Snake Eyes plays as Geef he's been winning in 4 and in 5 as Geef with insane odds because he's just that sick. But also, like, the way he plays is so, like, it's unorthodox from what the typical Geef experience is when you fight randomly online, for example. Because in each of those matches, he landed, like, maybe 1 SPD per, like, set.
He just uses the threat of the SPD at all times.
That's it. And he's just walking and patiently blocking and pressuring you with buttons. And the implication is more than enough. And he's always been that way. And this time around, like, he whiffed 1 or 2, So he actually did go. You saw him go for maybe more than once, but for the most part, maybe one or so SPDs per set. Most rounds, none. It's crazy. His weapon is fear, and he used it to fucking win the tournament, and it was unbelievable. So, everyone questioning everything they know, with JP no less, who's like currently considered the new top tier over Ken. After Kakeru and stuff. So yeah, man, Snake Eyes is just built different, proving that the skill issue for everybody else out there. Skill issue. Nuts, man. When you see him take like 25 seconds to just block and step through every spike and just navigate the fucking obstacle course like a MXC, and then just work his way in. And then as soon as he gets within range, the next time JP does Kane into anything, he just does fucking jackhammer right into level 2. Jackhammer! Bam! Calls him out each time. It was fantastic.
I'm mad at Snake Eyes because we can't be Snake Eyes. We can't.
Skill issue. It's the fear. He uses the level 2 and he walks in patiently, and not a single running bear grab, not a single fucking borscht, except for combos, of course. Just getting in your head, incredible. Yeah, in the end, he was like, I don't know if he's good or bad. Like, he literally in the interview, Snake Eyes is like, yeah, I can't tell yet. I don't know. I'm not sure if Zangief is good or bad.
He's bad. He's really bad. He's really bad because it took Snake Eyes to win with Zangief, because Snake Eyes is the greatest player that has ever lived, and so if it takes the greatest player to ever live to be he needs buffs. More buffs, please.
Like, when they're like, what would you buff him with? What would you give him? His answer was, just make the chest slaps always connect. That's it.
I would say that would actually be... I would say that would be a massive buff, and I would do that, and I would
Lariat on both sides is the one that everyone talks about.
I would say the hitbox on Super 1 has to be larger. Yeah, you missed with it a lot.
Make it literally just do its job. Yeah, that's the real one.
Like those three would make. Like, I don't know if it would make them a lot better, but it would make them feel a lot better to play.
It would do what its intended job is, which it currently doesn't do. This is true. The World Tour version of moves seems to be like they copied it over in an early version of the game, and then they just branched both versions apart from each other.
Yeah, World Tour seems like it's 2 years older than the rest of the game.
Probably
because it's 2 years older than the rest of the game.
Not only does the Lariat hit on both sides in World Tour, but you can do like EX Blanka Ball into itself like 3 times in a row. Like, juggles are just way more loose and lenient. So, anyway. Yep. Geef, top tier. God tier confirmed. Locked in. The results speak for themselves. Anyway. We got to see a little bit of the Sonic Superstars multiplayer trailer. Nothing much to say here except I'm just flabbergasted this game didn't already exist. It just...
Yeah, that's every time you see something good with Sonic, you're like, why didn't this come out 15 years ago?
It's just, that's it. I'm just like, oh, those split screen modes were always 2-player, never 4. And the Mario 4-player co-op stuff that's been going on never got copied over to classic 2D Sonic. There was multiplayer modes in a couple of 3D games, but like they just never did this one, and it just seems like such an obvious thing. So yeah, that's it. Sonic seems like it's in a good place. Frontier's doing good for the 3D. This looking like a fun way for a 4-player, and if you want to do classic, you got the Sonic Manias for you, and then you got the movies as well. Like, overall, more current Sonic things are better than not. So, good time to be a fucking weird Christian Sonic fan.
Oh, god damn it. It's always a good time to be a weird Christian Sonic fan, Willie. Because the Lord is ever present in our lives.
Shout out to DeviantArt. we got to also see at the same time this week there was the TennoCon 2023 that was had a couple announcements from Digital Extremes.
Had a bunch of weird shit announced.
So they showed off the next expansion, Whisper in the Walls. They showed off Warframe 1999.
Definitely the most interesting thing they showed by far was Warframe 1999.
So what exactly is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Trent Reznor is involved?
It looks like fucking Dark Sector.
Not sure.
It's totally baffling.
Not sure what is happening, but 9 Inch Nails, so sure. But then they announced and showed off 30 minutes of Soulframe Preludes, the fantasy game that is a sister franchise to Warframe that is partially connected, but we're not clear how just yet. And yeah, you're just looking at a full-on fantasy-ass setting with fantasy-ass characters doing fantasy-ass things.
I would like to see
sword combat.
What's fucking Soulframe feels like, because Warframe has a lot of built-up baggage that they kind of always have to work around. I would like to see what they can do with something that's like brand new.
So is Soulframe not built on like?
Oh, it is. I mean,
everything?
I can see that they're using like the walk animation in some parts of the interface, but it's still like it's still a separate thing.
And from what I can tell, or maybe I'm wrong, like it's a single player fantasy game, right?
I think I'm not sure. I'm not super sure what the fuck this game is.
Okay.
Because like it's fantasy, but I'm looking at it right now, and the character has a fucking robot face.
It's online. Okay, it's co-op. Okay, multiplayer is in it. Fair enough.
What's really strange is that it uses the same art style, just in a different time period. Like it uses the Orokin style, like dress and like ornamentation on characters' clothing, but just old instead of future.
Yeah, and everything.
It's very interesting.
And it's curious too, because it's like this is at the same time as we got to see the other game that was like MMO into spin-off game, Crimson Desert, showed off its single player game, which is the same people that made Black Desert, doing a single player game, which I feel like they were more suited for anyway.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, it's the people that made Black Desert, except now it's just a single player thing, which kind of feels what they were going for anyway.
That's so fucking funny.
That's why
I was watching Crimson Desert and I was like, this looks Korean as shit. And then sure enough it was. But like the fucking dots didn't connect that it's an offshoot of Black Desert.
Yeah. So it looks so, a lot of people are going, it looks so fake. It's like
it sure does.
But it is pretty much what Black Desert is doing, except now it's just you're not doing it in this MMO environment. You know?
No, the reason why people think it looks fake is that there's too much in the trailer. Like they kind of don't believe that it's all going to be there as depicted.
Well, in that case, then yeah, you could be looking at a fucking prettied up, gussied up vertical slice, you know, for sure. But either way, like the games that they like, when you look at Black Desert and the fact that that has like hit stop in it and juggles and stuff, it's like, oh, they kind of always really wanted to make that kind of game anyway, you know. It's probably better suited.
That trailer is a roller coaster for Crimson Desert because it looks like extremely, extremely grounded fantasy, or like low fantasy, and then like you're doing fishing and you're in a hot air balloon, and then it cuts to you in the sky in a techno in a techno cube prison. And then, glowing magic shit. Tree monsters and robots. And you're like, okay, whoa. What?
Yeah. I would not be surprised if a lot of I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of stuff that nobody saw in Black Desert just got reused here. When he was walking around the town, I'm like, I feel like that looks exactly like some of the towns I saw in Black Desert, as well, or at least like same kind of like texture sort of set, you know. But yeah, and then one of the bosses is basically doing fucking Nier Automata, like bullet hell dodging, you know.
Like I thought like this game was going to be I thought it was going to be like, what was that fucking game, that the really low fantasy game that wasn't even fantasy, Kingdom something, it was like Swedish. Oh fuck, I streamed it. What the hell was it called? Regardless, so it looks really grounded, and then by the time you get to the Kingdom Come, that's it, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Okay.
Where it's just like Europe in like 14 whatever.
Sure.
Right? And then I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, oh, he's fighting a tree monster and Reed Devil and a clockwork cyborg dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so when you're watching it too, you're watching it kind of borrow from like, hey, what's going on? Do you want to jump off your Elden Ring horse and do your mid-air double jumps? Do you want to skyward sword your way down through the sky, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild style? We got that covered. And at one point, they're like, you're fighting a Reed Devil in a giant Sekiro fucking field. And you're like, do you want to FromSoft your samurai battle? Tsushima? You know, so, yeah, they're grabbing whatever they can. Anyway, beyond that, only other things, 2 stories. One, we got some more details about the PlayStation Portal, and
it's a fucking waste of money.
$200 Wi-Fi.
Here's some details for you idiots.
$200 Wi-Fi stream your PS5 games to the handheld. Plug in your Bluetooth headset. Nope, no Bluetooth supported. Only PlayStation Link compatible headsets.
How the fuck? No Bluetooth support.
Local play, media playback. Get the fuck out of here. Cannot do anything if you are not connected on Wi-Fi.
The most reliable of transmissions for
Sony
streaming
has announced new cloud features that they'll be focusing on and investing in. So cloud infrastructure, surely you will be able to connect your PlayStation Portal to the cloud to do your cloud gaming. Nope, no cloud streaming technology, even though that's what currently is being pushed by Sony. Battery life, how are we looking? Targeting the same battery life as DualSense controllers, which they claim 7 hours or so, but in reality, for me, it's been closer to 3 or 4.
So you know what I've discovered is a cool pro tip for your PlayStation controller, because I like the PlayStation 5 controller. It's my favorite controller to actually use.
It is a good controller to use. It just breaks easily and has a shitty battery life.
If you want to massively, and I mean massively, increase the battery life on the PS5 controller, what you want to do is you want to use it exclusively to play PC games and turn off vibration entirely.
Yeah, okay.
And you will triple the fucking battery life on it. Like, not like you'll get up to 12 hours easy.
That would probably explain it. Because the thing is that with the new Smart Rumble stuff, it's like, oh, that's a fun lifty thing. And the only thing I'm playing right now that uses it is FF16. But yeah, I do have it on.
When I play PlayStation games, I absolutely keep all the DualSense shit on. But 99% of the games that I play are on PC, and PC games don't have the fancy DualSense Rumble. They have the old style shit ass Rumble.
Yeah.
And so fuck that.
Well, nothing's been notable with it besides like Returnal and Demon Souls. That was it.
Demon Souls is probably the best use of that.
So fair enough then. But anyway, So I think the only thing about this is like it seems as if by not having any features whatsoever, that's how they managed to keep it at $200.
Wow,
right?
that's stupid.
But it's like, if you're trying to make something just to have a fake competitor to the Steam Deck, why not just give it a little bit more so that it can at least serve as a pseudo tablet thing that can connect to the cloud and can play games remotely? Even if you're like even if it's going to be a lag box for everything you play, if you're going to bother investing in one of these things, like, you're not replacing a Steam box, you're not replacing a Steam Deck or a Switch.
No, I will not. The only thing you are replacing when you buy this PlayStation Portal is
the Wii U?
$200 plus tax from your wallet.
I mean, it sounds like you're replacing your Wii U, because you have to literally be running Wi-Fi in the same situation, and there's like not a single other use case for it, and it's going to die in a very short period of time. So you might have to sit next plug to a wall anyway. I don't get it. Who is this for? This is for you in your bed? Is that it? Like, anyway.
Reviews on this thing are going to be savage. They're going to be like, I'm 10 feet away from my fucking PlayStation, and it runs like shit.
It's just weird because you're actually going through the trouble of like making the hardware, making the portable, making the big screen, and having all that shit, and you're just like, and we put nothing in it. So,
somebody in the chat points out the Switch Lite is the same price.
Really? Well, well, never mind then, because like nothing really you would expect something coming out from Sony to always be upwards of 300, like, so I'm like that's pretty inexpensive for them, but that's because there's literally nothing in it. There's no use case for it. I don't get it.
Who is this for?
What is this for? Not just who, what, and also when. When is this for? Is this for toilet and bed?
I don't understand.
It appears to just be for toilet and bed. I've seen people pulling out their Steam Decks on plane. I've seen them pulling them out at tournaments, in hotel, in hospital, whatever. Like, it is a portable thing. I bare minimum assumed this was going to be shitty, cloud connected to your account and play game from a distance, but it's not even that. Anyway, God bless, Godspeed. And last, we had a couple days back, the Marvel VFX crews have voted to unionize, and as of
apparently
this week,
Disney's is doing it like right now also.
As of this week, the Disney as a whole VFX workers are voting to unionize. Over 80% of the in-house VFX members have officially signaled their desire, and that's pretty fucking sick, considering...
Hey, you don't have to worry about MCU fatigue anymore, guys.
Well, I was going to say, like, this is not that same team, but considering we were just... like everyone just enjoyed Spider-Verse, and then immediately came out, and it was like, yeah, that was fucking exhausting, and a million VFX artists burnt themselves out to shit. It's like, yeah, so good timing on this. But that obviously needs to be Sony's side. But at least the die is cast, and the ball is rolling. So that's pretty good, and 80% is a strong number as well. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes, as it's currently happening right now. All right, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you went... fuck.
Yep. Nailed it. castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
My mouth just fell off my fucking face. That's what happened.
Hey, you know what? You know what happens when you yell at people that their letters are too long?
Yeah, they send big fucking letters.
Actually, they tighten that shit up.
Get the fuck out. Shut your mouth.
They tightened that shit up.
We should have done that 50 years ago.
It's kind of, we actually did, and it happened before, and they temporarily tightened up and then went back to loosening again.
Ah, I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah, like an amyl nitrate, we loosened back up, unfortunately. But right now it appears to be tight. So hey, podcast question. Pat say email too long, use less word. When you shower, what song sing? I sing So Fresh, So Clean by Outkast. Love from Sask.
I don't sing anything in the shower. When I go into the shower, I totally sublimate and transport myself to the shower dimension in which nothing can hurt me, and everything is fine. So if I'm ever like just that moment where you're just like, if I don't do something, I'm gonna freak the fuck out. Just freak the fuck out. Everybody has their different thing. I get into the shower, and then I walk out of the shower, and I'm clean, and everything is good. And all my problems seem less.
I will often have a particular battle theme or credits theme that is stuck in my head. I will often hum that in the shower. I think that'll be my thing. So for a while it was Weight of the World. It can be anything from Revengeance back in the day. Like whatever the current fucking thing is. I just went back and I was listening to Moog Theme 1 from Elden Ring. So Moog Theme 1 is currently burnt the fuck in.
Oh, I just saw the strangest thing in our chat. I can't stand being in the shower with nothing on. You need to be in there with nothing on.
I can actually.
You need to wash your stinky body
with nothing on, right?
You can't wear clothes in the shower. That's not allowed.
Whap, 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 whap. There you go. There's your dad pun for the week.
Wait, what?
Nothing on as in music.
Is that a phrase that people use?
See, they were making a music. No, okay, so that wasn't a dad pun. That was actually just a Pat hitting a wall moment. Never mind.
Is that what people say? I do this with something on, and they mean music?
Yeah, or the radio, or a playlist, Spotify.
Why wouldn't they say like the radio on
with something on? Yeah,
But what we're talking about the shower. Wouldn't you think about clothes first?
The context was I was about to say that when I'm not humming a song, I turn on my Bluetooth waterproof speaker and I play whatever I'm playing in my headphones.
Yeah, Paige has a Bluetooth speaker. She listens to music. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
I want to transport to the shower dimension.
Or you can podcast. You can listen to a podcast while you're in the shower as well.
Why would I want to listen to a podcast while I'm scrubbing my fucking asshole and balls?
So it can sound like you're in a room full of people.
Yeah, like what the...
I want the sensation of being in a room full of people while I'm scrubbing my tape. There you go.
What the fuck?
Of course, naturally. Yeah. No, it's just once I saw that there was like some really good waterproof speaker tech out there, and it's like, oh, found time, right? Secondary soundtracks. Anything in life that's a silent moment, you can fill with not silent moment.
But we don't have very many silent moments in our lives anymore.
Good. No.
It's fine. You need time to think and wrestle with your own inner demon.
All the sound with distraction. Play the soundtrack. There can never be a gap.
Hey, you know what's great,
right
dude?
Into the next.
You know what's really great? That email was under like 60 words, and we got to have like a nice talk about the question in the email.
Perfect. Moving on. Brief question about food. Manita asks, hey, funny name Wooly and funny name Pat. Do you ever do weird combinations of food? Back when I was in college, I used to put cheese powder from Kraft Mac and Cheese on microwave popcorn, and it was pretty good.
That's not weird. That's like uncommon, but like I wouldn't even call that strange.
Yeah, they probably sell that to you in some fancy popcorn places. Actually, that's a pretty.
Yeah, that's not that weird.
No, that's a pretty solid thing. In fact, barbecue powered powder on popcorn is pretty good and stuff like that. Like popcorn can take on a lot of different flavors, so you're fine with that. Yeah, I've definitely had a couple of those in my life, I'd say. The weirdest I think I've mentioned before. The weirdest combination food I think I've ever done was back when I was a kid and I was getting chubby. Part of the reason why was because I had peanut butter cheese on a sandwich. And I'm not proud of it.
That doesn't sound good at all.
I'm not proud of it, but that was
what kind of cheese?
Marble, just a slice of marble. That was a little fatty kid moment. And I kind of disavow it these days. I'm not proud, but I did do it.
You should eat that on camera.
The taste was surprisingly fine, mainly because the cheese has to be not like strong. It has to be like a blandish kind of cheese to it, but like it did work. But that's a fat kid moment. No.
So
I think that's my weirdest combination.
So I don't do weird food because I don't like my food to touch other food. I think food should not touch other food in 99% of situations. I think that's wrong. I think you should I think when you look down at your plate and you let's say like turkey. You got turkey and you got mashed potatoes and you got like let's say corn or peas or whatever. I think you should take a bite of each of them and eat them and then swallow them before having the other, and I don't think they should touch. I think that's wrong.
And how do you eat a shepherd's pie, Pat?
See that's different. Because the shepherd's pie is a singular item.
Oh.
So if I had shepherd's pie and a different item, then the shepherd's pie and the other item shouldn't touch.
But if the same ingredients were cooked and served separately on your plate.
No, but they're not ingredients, they're items.
Okay,
they're food items.
But if I made you some corn and then some mashed potatoes and some meat,
that's right.
And I put them on the plate separately from each other.
That's right. Yeah.
You would have to take
those
them
are
separately.
all separate items and they shouldn't touch.
Sane answer.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So I don't do weird food stuff.
Perfect.
But if I had to say something that even I admit that that I do that is strange is I guess I am guilty of girl dinner. Are you familiar with girl dinner?
You eat a small thing and then steal everything off of Paige's plate?
No, that is girlfriend dinner.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Some bullshit
what girl
is
no,
what that is.
No, girl dinner is like random ingredients as a meal.
Oh yeah, she does.
Girl
that.
dinner is
yeah,
like a handful of dry pasta and like a piece of cheese,
some chocolate,
and
then some peach. Yeah.
I will gladly go into the pantry.
Yeah.
And I would way rather eat like a bag of baby carrots, an apple, and like a chunk of cheese
just
than
filling
make
up
any meal.
See, and you know what though? Like what the girl dinner you're describing, just filling up on random bullshit. That's also French dinner. Like
it?
Parisian, like France.
Oh yeah.
Right? In France, they make little like charcuterie plates with just like here's some cheese.
I like a good charcuterie plate.
Here's some grapes. Here's a fucking slice of apple. Some bullshit.
Dude.
I don't know. What do we got back there? Nuts? You want some walnuts? All right, walnuts. Some fucking apple and some cheese. Eat it. Shut up.
The other day, it drove Paige fucking crazy because she made herself a ham and cheese sandwich and it was pretty good. And then I was like, oh, that looks good. And then I went into the kitchen. And I grabbed a handful of ham. That's how I judged it. I cut myself a block of cheese and took a piece of bread, and then just ate that. And she was looking at me like I was a fucking psycho. I did not construct the sandwich.
It
wasn't deconstructed. It was
never
constructed.
non-constructed. Yes, gotcha.
So like I would say my predilection to girl dinner is definitely a little strange.
I mean, I've definitely been lazy and taken a cold cut and wrapped it around a slice of cheese.
Yeah, that's good.
You know,
except it shouldn't touch. So I want to point out, somebody in the chat points out that Pat, didn't you and Paige have like the biggest fight ever about this? And yeah, one of the very first things that me and Paige ever did online was we fought over ham sandwich, because I had a ham sandwich from the grocery store and it was ham, cheese, croissant, and like a little piece of lettuce. And she didn't want anything but the ham, right? She only wanted the ham. And I'm like, you're not gonna deconstruct my fucking sandwich and just eat the ham. That's bullshit. Then I'm just gonna have a croissant with a piece of cheese and lettuce. And we like there was a struggle. There was a struggle over that ham. And now people are saying, but Pat, you will just eat the ingredients separately. Are you a psycho? No, because they were never part of a sandwich. Once the sandwich is made, it is one food item and should not be modified or deconstructed or let other foods touch it.
Once the category has changed, once you've dropped the item in the folder of sandwich, you can no longer pull the item out of the sandwich folder.
Exactly. It's now a sandwich. Anything you do to it will fuck it up and make it wrong.
Sane. Perfectly sane, correct take.
It is. It is sane. I remember my sister and I sitting there at dinner, and my brother would take all his food and jam it into a big slop in the middle of his plate, and we'd be like, that's disgusting. And then we would eat our separate foods together, and we would be looking at each other and go, sis, you're a genius. You're completely right. This is the right way to eat this. And she would say, Pat, yes, you're completely right. And then she would eat her peas one at a time. And I thought that was strange. But did we not I don't do that. That's stupid.
Did we not sit on this very podcast and discuss the eating of cereal with milk separated from the bowl of cereal?
I think we did. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't do that, but you could.
Because I recall you defending it, and
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And I recall it also being the very subject of the horrors that the movie Get Out were trying to warn us about.
Yeah, I remember this conversation. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Okay, there we go.
Because like they're separate, and you can, and once you've started to eat them separate, you have to keep them separate. But once you've combined them into the cereal,
for sure,
then it's the cereal.
Normal behavior. Same.
Cereal and water is the absolute psycho, like get out of the house shit.
Okay. So that.
Like get out of the house.
I unfortunately have experience with that.
Shut up. No one actually does that.
Except when your health message fam is trying to prepare something that's a better kind of milk. So we're using powdered milk, like some powdered almond milk or some derivative, and you have to mix the milk yourself. But sometimes the mix is not thorough, so you end up with the milk powder chunking up on one side and basically cereal in your spoon.
That sounds bad.
With your water.
I don't want to eat that.
And it was nightmarish, and this has been a thing.
Okay, here's what I don't get, because some people in the chat are saying that's not psycho, that's poverty shit. But I'm just thinking about, like, yeah, okay, you don't have money for milk, because milk is actually, like, kind of expensive compared to other basic staples. I would prefer fucking dry cereal over cereal with water. That just seems bad.
It sucked. It fucking sucked. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with dry cereal. Dry cereal is good every day.
But it's not as satisfying going to school as getting milk with it. You don't feel like you've had a proper breakfast. Dry cereal as a snack, sure. Dry cereal as your first meal of the day? Fuck no.
You know, I don't think I've ever talked about this in front of a large audience. Is it really that strange that your foods shouldn't touch? A bunch of people in my family don't like their foods to touch.
There are some times I don't want it to touch, but most of the time it's all the same in your fucking gut. Who cares? Especially if there's like a plate that's being prepared where the flavors are supposed to
The
intermingle with each
textures
other.
get all fucking confusing and fucked up.
And sometimes that's the point. If you go order from certain restaurants where they serve up a plate with a bunch of things on it, the intention is for you to grab a fork of a little bit of each thing and taste them together. They will actually do that. The mix is kind of sometimes the point.
If the mix was the point, it would show up mixed.
Sometimes it depends. It depends, right? But the fact that they're gonna touch sometimes is like that just kind of happens. Like,
no, that's not true. That's not true.
Okay, so again,
Food touching does not just happen. You allow it to happen with like bad management of your plate.
If I'm thinking of a plate I would eat back when I was a kid, there'd be rice and peas with some meat, some fish or something, and then some green, right? Some salad or something. Yeah. And if I ended up with a spoon with some rice and then some fish and then gravy, that's a good fork, right? That's a good thing. If I ended up with some green salad and then I had some rice with it, I don't want rice and my salad together. So no, I would try to separate that. That's not good.
Yeah.
But the rice is super good when it comes to combining it with the meat. So that's fine. So it depends on what's on the plate.
So like I'll have like Indian food, right? I'll have like a butter chicken, right? And butter chicken shows up with the chicken, which is very saucy, rice, naan bread, and like a salad. Yeah. Right? So what you do is you eat the whole salad first. Fine. Then you eat all of the chicken.
That's insane.
Then you eat all of the rice.
That's insane.
And then you take the bread and you wipe up the sauce.
Oh, but why do you dip the bread in the sauce? What's different about that? You should eat the bread by itself.
Because sauce isn't a food item.
Oh, but you're mixing what the bread item, which is its own thing, now. That's inconsistent. What's up? You've mixed the bread with the sauce, but these are two separate items. Why are we mixing?
The bread is basically acting like a fork to get the sauce.
Oh, but why is bread different compared to the other items beforehand?
Because bread is for the sauce.
But is it?
Yeah, well, so actually, you know what's funny?
Because
Paige and I had an argument about this yesterday.
The fuck off.
Where we had some Indian food, and I'm like, hey, can I have some naan bread? And she's like, yeah. And then I took a piece of naan bread and I just ate it. And she was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I just had a piece of naan bread. And she's like, the naan bread is for the sauce. I thought you were gonna have some sauce. I'm like, no, I just wanted the naan bread. And she's like, no.
I mean, if it's
you can't have any more. I'm like, why do you care if I dip it or not?
If it's a good garlic peshwari naan or cheese, then it's tasty on its own. But it's
regular. It was just plain.
But it's fantastic when you add
bread in my mouth.
Yeah, it's fantastic if you take a piece of butter chicken with naan and then you put the fucking chicken in it with the sauce and you have it all together. That tastes phenomenal.
I don't understand what.
Furthermore, I didn't even know this tech, but when I was working in QA, one of the dudes I was working with showed me the tech of like he would actually put the rice in the sauce. He would empty it out, and then he would just have the meat and sauced up rice all together in the same container, and he went right into it. And I was
you know what? I used to do that. You remember the Korean place next to where I used to live? I would finish like a bulgogi, and then I would take the whole fucking thing of rice and toss it into the sauce.
And I never thought of that.
I guess sauce gets around the rules.
Well, you got to explain some consistency there, because the moment I learned that you could just dump the rice into the sauce like that, I was like, we're never going back. This is the way to do it. 100%. You get the meat inside the sauce, and usually a lot of places will give you way too much sauce compared to the meat.
I want way too much sauce,
but you'll get not enough meat. Is also the problem. You'll get like 5 little blocks of chicken, and then you get a giant container of butter chicken sauce. It's like, all right, well, we're gonna have that, and you just dump the rest in there.
I guess sauce does break the rules in that you can mix sauce with things, but you shouldn't mix other things with things.
So we are approaching singularity.
Is it a
particle or a wave?
You know how I know it? Like I'm saying something like nuts is when because I'm talking to you via Discord and DMs just start to happen.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I was just sent a photo of from Dead Asana of a cafeteria tray. Yeah, cafeteria trays are the best. You don't let any of the food touch. They're all in their own little,
Okay.
their own little places where they need to be.
Well, you can tell right now you've never been to the cookout, because if you go to the cookout and someone fixes you a plate, the plate they fix you is going to be nice and stacked, and there's no way you can avoid food touching each other if it's a good plate.
Well, that's completely different.
If someone is fixing you,
if the plate is handed to me in such a state, that means it's a singular food item, and that item is cookout plate.
You have been fixed a plate. You do not discriminate with what's on the plate, and you do not call out any cross-contamination because it's all good shit.
No, listen. If the plate gets to you that way, that's fine. But you can't make the things touch on the plate, because then you're eating it wrong. Because the way it was presented to you is the way that it's supposed to be eaten.
I see. So the state that the plate has been fixed is now the new solid state.
Yes.
And as you've received it as such, so you cannot, now it is your job to not allow any further contamination.
The way that the person wants me to eat the food is the way that it showed up on my plate. If the person who made the food wanted me to eat the whole plate in a big fucking mess, they would pile it on like a big fucking mess.
Well, I'm sorry to report that some of the barbecue sauce on the ribs is going to make it onto the chicken, and some of that's going to get onto the rice, and some of that gravy is going to be underneath.
Under the intention, that's fine.
And the cornbread
but I'm not going to take random
in some of the
food
sauce
items
too.
and jam them into each other.
You might have some gravy touching the cornbread.
I'm getting so many DMs right now.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, what?
Oh man, it's
on the way out of the door here, let me just throw my cousin under the bus, because she, when we were young, would pretty much send shockwaves of vile and disgust through all of us with her patented combinations of eating slices of ketchup with apple.
Slices of ketchup with what? You just said slices of ketchup with apple?
Slices of ketchup with apple. And
I know what you mean by saying that.
As a separate serving, oranges with black pepper.
You know, see, Wooly. Okay, you know what? We can reach a common ground here. Okay, so I am picking up that you think I'm crazy for saying food shouldn't touch, right? My mentality of food shouldn't touch is to avoid the nightmare you just described.
Yes. Well, there shouldn't be a plate with ketchup or apples on it anyways to begin with. These are two items that should never. There should never be a combination of these two things, right? You learn sweet and savory. You learn about when you have some chocolate with your pretzel, or when you have some bacon on your ice cream, whatever.
Or you have bacon on like a date, right?
Horseback.
Yeah, that's
devil's on horseback.
Yeah,
but yes. A tomato salty ass fucking sauce on your fruit can fuck right off, and that's what she did. And we never let it down. We never let it down.
And y'all out here saying I'm crazy for keeping my turkey and mashed potatoes separate.
So yeah, that's real. Now at the same time, Punch Mom's got an issue with texture, so there are times when the combination of things isn't the intent. For example, ice cream and a slice of apple pie. Right?
I think that's awful.
Warm and cold together, delicious, amazing, fantastic. No notes. 10 on 10.
The warm to me, that my problem with that is warm and cold.
Yeah, but that's what's interesting about it. That's what's interesting about it, right? Fried ice cream is the same thing, warm and cold playing together. It tastes really good. It's an interesting flavor.
I don't care for that. I want my foods all to be cold or all to be hot.
Well,
they should all be the same temperature. Temperature shouldn't mix either.
Either way, you know what, Manita? Great question. Thumbs up.
so many. I go, oh man.
All right, last one in the same vein. To Pat and Wooly, I refuse to elaborate our context or do context names. What trait of animals can you just not believe made it through natural selection? Like, what the fuck are sloths doing? That's the question.
Sloths going down to the bottom of the tree to shit so they can die is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. That's definitely way up there.
I'm gonna take it right back to the duckbill platypus and just go like, you have the wrong mouth. That's not the right mouth.
It's wrong. Yeah.
For what you are, you're supposed to have a different mouth, and that's fucking insane.
I think koalas are maybe the most maladapted freaks on the planet. They can only eat one plant, and they're not good at eating that one plant. Is really bad.
So in the same vein as that, I'm gonna say the fainting goats.
That's genetic.
It is insane that natural selection somehow allowed that to survive, because
did it, or was that people thinking fainting goats were cute?
I don't know, but in Bone, there are those creatures that love when you eat them and would love to serve up a piece of their meats to you. And I'm reminded of that. It's like, what predator would not just fucking lose their mind and wipe out an entire fainting goat population? Of, when the goats get scared, they fall over and just become ripe for eating. It's crazy. Yeah, there you go. That's my... I have no idea how or why. Great. Good stuff, guys.
This is apropos of nothing, but like, you want to hear something cool? Have you seen what happens to pigs when they get let loose in the wild?
Yeah, they become boars again.
They turn back into boars.
Correct.
And like, I remember hearing about that and being like, oh, you mean like the kids? I'm like, no. They start to physically change into boars.
Yes. Pigs are absolutely just Pokemon. And
it's so weird.
Like it begins with the first thing of like, the trend of micro pigs and mini pigs, where like a bunch of rich people buy a cute little pig and they think it's going to be cute, and it's like, you idiot, that's a pig, is a hog, is a boar, is the same animal. It's just
if you want to get a small pig, get a bulldog like I did.
The small mini pig eventually 100% becomes a giant full-sized hog if you keep feeding it, which you're supposed to, because they need to eat that much. And then, yes, give them a wild environment, and then the horns come out, and then the hair grows out, and they turn back brown. And it's literally just adapting to its environment.
Crazy.
Yeah, I want to say there's a freshwater and saltwater crocodile that is also kind of like that. Like, within, like, a generation, it will just adapt back and forth depending on the water that it's in, It's in there. Epigenetic memory unlocks instantly.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Sick. Super sick.
Hey, I want to steer it back to food for just 1 second, because you mentioned, like, Punch Bomb has, like, a texture thing. You know what really bums me the fuck out is takoyaki?
Why?
Because it tastes really good. It tastes really good. Takoyaki tastes good. But like, it feels like shit in my mouth.
Yes. I get that. Because squid and octopus food in general is just way too chewy. I completely feel it's just too rubbery. The texture is not great. And takoyaki specifically is also served up, at least when you get it in Japan, nothing short of 99 degrees.
Yeah, it's a little hot.
Celsius.
It's a little hot. Yeah.
We both, me and Punch Mom, burnt our mouths, like serious damage.
You both ate it at the same time, so neither one could warn the other?
It's insane. It's completely insane. Like, they don't tell you in advance, but you break that shit open and let the steam cloud come out, because it is actually like you're risking at least like second-degree burns in your mouth at some points when it's hot off the fucking grill into the box and they serve it up to you off the street or inside the mall, It tastes so good, but you're actually about to fuck your mouth up for days, if not weeks.
It's too chewy. It's too, like...
No. Yeah, no, I'll see squid type things. I'll give it that. Just textures.
Like I was in Japan, and I'm like, I'll have some takoyaki from Japan. I was in Osaka, for fuck's sake. Where the fuck else am I gonna get better takoyaki? And I'm like, wow, this tastes delicious. I want to spit it out of my fucking mouth. Bummer.
Yeah. Just yesterday, Reggie was telling me like he was eating Cambodian dried squid. You ever have that?
I have not.
It's like kind of like a snack that's just like it's dried squid. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of salted and you know, smoked or whatever, and it is basically like chewing on an eraser.
I'm not good with that. That sounds like shit.
And like it's got some flavor to it. But you're chewing for about 20 minutes before you can actually swallow anything.
See, that's stupid. Like when I was a kid, yeah, I'd compulsively like eat pencils because it's great. But like I don't think it's food.
The few times I've had it, it's hurt my teeth. It legitimately felt like, and I also felt my jaw was tired of chewing, and like I was getting like jaw exhaustion as well. It sucks. For the taste, that's pretty good. Too much work. Anyways, there you go. Good stuff. Good question. All right. That'll do. Tune in this week, and I'll jump back on.
Woolie's gonna start playing Armored Core and Baldur's Gate this week. Check it out.
Yeah, and some other stuff. Street Fighter is in there somewhere. I don't know. Fuck. Yeah. All right.
Great emails this week. Unironically,
it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Yelling at the scared little audience has now.
Like a little audience. These people are freaks.
Yes, I know, but
you right now listening to this, freak.
Verbal abuse has resulted in improved behavior.
Yeah.
Therefore,
the beatings will cease since morale has improved.
You took the words out of my mouth.